Fluorourfactants, plural of fluorourfactant. Fluorotag, a fluorescent tag. Fluorotags, plural of fluorotag. Fluorotantalate, any anion in which oxygen atoms of a tantalate anion have been formally replaced by fluorine, but especially Ta-F2, the hepafluorotantalate anion, any salt containing such an anion. Fluorotantalates, plural of fluorotantalate. Fluoroclimber, any fluorocarbon-based oligomer or telomer synthesized by telomerization. Fluoroclimers, plural of fluoroclimber. Fluoroethane, synonym of halothane. Fluorotherapy, the therapeutic use of fluoride as a dietary supplement. Fluorothymidine, any of several fluoroderivatives of thymidine that have biological activity. Fluorothymidines, plural of fluorothymidine. Fluoridic, relating to fluorosis. Fluorotriphenylsilane, a chemical compound, CHFSI. Fluorotryptophan, any fluoroderivative of a tryptophan, but especially 5-fluorotryptophan. Fluorotryptophans, plural of fluorotryptophan. Fluorotype, a photographic process in which salts of fluoric acid were employed for the purpose of producing images in the camera. Fluorotypes, plural of fluorotype. Fluoracil, a fluorine-substituted derivative of uracil C4H3FN2O2 which inhibits DNA synthesis and is used as a chemotherapy drug in the treatment of cancer. Fluoracils, plural of fluoracil. Fluoridine, any fluoroderivative of uridine, but especially 5-fluoridine, a metabolite of 5-fluoracil, derivatives of which have anti-cancer activity. Fluoridines, plural of fluoridine. Fluoris, containing fluorite. Fluorphlogite, alternative form of fluoroflogopite. Fluorpyrimidine, alternative form of fluoropyrimidine. Fluorpyrimidines, plural of fluorpyrimidine. Plural of fluor. Fluorspar, synonym of fluorite. Fluorspars, plural of fluorspar. Fluorsulfate, alternative form of fluorosulfate. Fluorsulfates, plural of fluorsulfate. Fluorosuvanite, a tetragonal ditrigonal dipyramidal mineral containing aluminum, calcium, fluorine, hydrogen, iron, magnesium, manganese, oxygen, and silicon, a fluorine analog of vesuvianite. Fluoro, synonym of fluoroformol. Fluosilicate, the anion CF2 derived from fluosilicic acid, any salt containing this anion. Fluosilicate, plural of fluosilicate. Fluosilicic, composed of or derived from silicon and fluorine. Fluosphere, a fluorescent microsphere. Fluospheres, plural of fluosphere. Fluoethane, halothane. Fluotracin, a tricyclic antidepressant and antipsychotic drug never marketed. Fluotrimazole, a particular fungicide. Fluoxapiprolene, an isoxazoline fungicide 2,5-R3-2,1,3,5-bisdifluorom, il-1-H-virazole 1-L-acetyl-piperidine 4-Il-1,3-thiazole 4-Il-4,5-bihydro 1,2-oxazole 5-Il-3-chlorophene, il-methanesulfonate. Fluoxastrobin, a particular strobilurine fungicide. Fluoxetine, a synthetic compound which inhibits the uptake of serotonin in the brain and is taken to treat depression. Fluoxetine hydrochloride. Fluoxetine. Fluoxetines, plural of fluoxetine. Fluoxymesterone, a synthetic androgen CHFO3 that is administered orally and is used especially in the treatment of testosterone deficiency in males and in the palliative treatment of breast cancer in females. Fluoroxacin, an alpha-2 adrenergic receptor antagonist. Flupentixol, alternative form of flupentixol. Flupentixol, a typical antipsychotic drug of the thioxanthinase. Fluvoramide, an antidiarrheal drug. Fluvolapine, a tricyclic atypical antipsychotic with additional antidepressant and sedative effects. Fluparolone, a corticosteroid. Fluphenazine, an antipsychotic drug of the phenothiazine class which can be administered orally or by injection. Fluphenazines, plural of fluphenazine. Flupirtine, an aminopyridine that functions as a non-opioid analgesic. Flupirtrine, misspelling of flupirtine. Fluprazine, a psychoactive drug and research chemical of the piperazine class of chemicals that is used as an anti-aggressor. Flupridinidine, a corticosteroid. Flupridinolone, a pregnane corticosteroid. Fluprophin, a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Flupirquazone, a quinazoline non-derivative with potent analgesic and antipyretic effects. Fluprostenol, a prostaglandin analog. Flupyratifurone, the butanolide insecticide 4,6-chloropyridine 3-methyl-2,2-difluoroethylaminofurin 2,5-H1. Fluquinconazole, a particular fungicide. Fluoridolene, an analgesic drug. Fluorolana, the isoxazoline ectoparasiticide 4,5-R/S5,3,5-dichlorophene, IL-4,5-dihydro-5-trifluorom, IL-1,2-oxazole, 3-elen.
Welcome to Alteryx One, a self-service analytics platform that makes it easy to automate analytics at scale and enable better decisions across all of your critical business functions. Prep and blend your data, build robust machine learning models, and let our AI engine discover and explain new insights faster, all directly through your web browser. The best part? Alteryx meets you where you are, whether on-prem or in the cloud, with support for all major cloud hosting platforms, coupled with local regional hosting across all major regions. Integrations with a wide variety of data connectors allow you to access all of your data anytime, anywhere. And regardless of your environment, Alteryx provides enterprise-grade scalability and security. See for yourself today.
1-methyl-3-phene IL-5-alpha-alpha-alpha-trifluoroemtolol-4-pyridone, derived from pyridone. Fluorithromycin, a macrolide antibiotic, a fluorinated derivative of erythromycin. Fluorochrome, alternative form of fluorochrome. Fluorochromes, plural of fluorochrome. Fluorogestone, alternative form of phlogiston. Fluoroda, a rare double infection of influenza and COVID-19. Fluorophore, misspelling of fluorophore. Fluoroquinolone, misspelling of fluoroquinolone. Fluorothyle, a volatile liquid drug from the halogenated ether family, acting as a stimulant and convulsant. Fluoracil, misspelling of fluoracil. Fluoroxine, a particular fluorinated ether used in clinical anesthesia. Fluoroxipper, a herbicide in the class of synthetic auxins. Fluorpiridaz, a radioactive diagnostic agent for use in positron emission tomography. Fluor, to scatter. Fluor, simple past and past participle of fleur. Fleury, simple past and past participle of flurry. Flurriedly, in a flurry. Flurries, plural of flurry. Flurry, present participle and gerund of fleur. Flirt, third person singular simple present indicative of fleur. Fleury, a surname. Fleurier, present participle and gerund of fleur. Flurriedly, with a flurry. Flurries, plural of flurrying. Flurries, plural of flurry. Flirt, archaic form of flirt. Flirtamide, the pesticide 5-methylamino-2-phene, L4,3-trifluoroalphene, L-furan 3,1. Flirt, simple past and past participle of flirt. Flirting, present participle and gerund of flirt. Flirts, third person singular simple present indicative of flirt. Flirt, a surname. Flurries, plural of flurry. Flirt, plural of flew. Oi, a group of birds that have suddenly started up from undergrowth, trees, etc. Flush casts, cast in such a way as to sit flush, fitting smoothly with the surroundings. Flush deck, a deck that is continuous from stem to stern at the same level. Flush decks, plural of flush deck. Flush left, alignment of the text aligned along the left margin or gutter. Flush left and right, a body of text aligned with both its left and right margins. Flush mount, a type of fixture that attaches directly to the ceiling, often with little or no gap between the fixture and the ceiling. Flush mounted, of or pertaining to a flush mount. Flush mounting, a type of mounting of a fixture, for example a socket, so that the body of the fixture is inside the wall, leaving only a cover plate on top of the surface of the wall. Flush mounts, plural of flush mount. Flush out, used other than figuratively or idiomatically, see flush out. Flush right, alignment of the text aligned along the right margin or gutter. Flush toilet, a toilet that uses water to flush urine and feces through a pipe to another location, typically a sewer main in urban settings or a septic tank elsewhere. Flush toilets, plural of flush toilet. Flushable, that has a flushing mechanism. Flushables, plural of flushable. Flushboard, alternative form of flashboard board placed upon a mildom. Flushboarded, alternative form of flashboarded. Flushboarding, alternative form of flashboarding. Flushboards, plural of flushboard. Flush, red in the face because of embarrassment, exertion, etc. Flushed out, simple past and past participle of flush out. Flusher, agent noun of flush, one who flushes. Flutters, plural of flusher. Flutters, plural of flush. Flut is out, third person singular simple present indicative of flush out. Flushes, superlative form of flush, most flush. Flutta, third person singular simple present indicative of flush. Flush, comparative form of fleshy, more flushy. Flahius, superlative form of fleshy, most flushy. Flutting, a coastal village in Myler Parish, Cornwall, England. A West Grid Ref SW 8134. Flushing out. present participle and gerund to flush out. Flushing time, the mean residence time, which equals the ratio between the amount of fluid contained in the control volume and the flow rate through it. Flushing times, plural of flushing time. Flushing toilet, synonym of flush toilet. Flushing toilets, plural of flushing toilet. Flushingly, in a flushing manner, while flushing, while blushing red with embarrassment. Flushings, plural of flushing. Flushless, without a flush. Floodiness, the state of being flush or well supplied, abundance. Floodinesses, plural of flushness. Flushometer, a device that flushes urinals automatically at regular intervals. Flushometers, plural of flushometer. Foot, obsolete form of flush. Flushware, a decorative combination of flint and ashlar on a wall, typically of a church. Ploy, synonym of flushed red in the face. Fluoxazole, a particular fungicide. Fluoxazole, a beta-adrenergic blocking drug. Fluspiperone, an antipsychotic drug. Fluspirilene, a diphenylbutylpiperidine antipsychotic drug used to treat schizophrenia. Fluster, to throw someone into a state of confusion or panic, to befuddle, to confuse. Flusterate, to make flustered. Flusterated, simple past and past participle of flusterate. Flusterates, third person singular simple present indicative of flusterate. Flusterating, present participle and gerund of flusterate. Flusteration, the state of being flustered, agitation. Flusterations, plural of flusteration. Fluster, confused, befuddled, in a state of panic by having become overwrought with confusion. Flusteredly, in a flustered manner. Flusterness, the state of being flustered. Flusterer, one that flusters. Flusterers, plural of flusterer. Flustering, agitated, confusing. Flusterment, the condition of being flustered. Flusterments, plural of flusterment. Flusters, third person singular simple present indicative of fluster. Flustery, fluster. Flusterme, any of a family of brominated tricyclic heterocycles found in bryozoans of the genus Flustra. Flustramines, plural of flustramine. Flustrate, to fluster or frustrate. Frustrated, frustrated to the point of being flustered, or vice versa. Flustrates, third person singular simple present indicative of flustrate. Frustrating, present participle and gerund to frustrate. Frustration, the act of frustrating, confusion, flurry or flustering. Flustriform, having colonies formed of non-rigid, lightly calcified branches. Fluosulfami, a particular fungicide. Flutamide, an n-steroidal anhydrogen CHF3N2O3 that is taken orally in the treatment of prostate cancer. Fludasalam, a benzodiazepine drug with sedative, muscle relaxant, anticonvulsant, and anxiolytic properties. Flut, initialism of feline lower urinary tract disease. Hood, a woodwind instrument consisting of a tube with a row of holes that produce sound through vibrations caused by air blown across the edge of the holes, often tuned by plugging one or more holes with a finger The Western concert flute, a transverse, side-blown flute of European origin. Flute around, to waste time. Flute stop, an organ stop having the tone of a flute instrument. Flute stops, plural of flute stop. Flute ass, a kind of recorder musical instrument. Flute player, someone who plays a flute. Flute players, plural of flute player. Flute, having flutes or grooves, either for decoration or to trim weight. Fluted around, simple past and past participle of flute around. Fluted giant clam, Tridacna squamosa, a large clam native to the shallow coral reefs of the South Pacific and Indian Oceans, distinguished by the leaf-like fluted edges, scutes on its shell. Fluted giant clams, plural of fluted giant clam. Photon, the amount that a flute type of glass will hold. Flutals, plural of fluteful. Fluteless, without a flute in various senses. Flutevi, resembling a flute or the sound of flute music. Flutimazepam, a 3-hydroxy-benzodiazepine derivative and analog of temazepam that has hypnotic, sedative, amnesiac, anxiolytic, anticonvulsant, and skeletal muscle relaxant properties. Flutimetamol, the aromatic fluorine compound 2,3-fluorophosphoramethylaminophene-1,3-benzothiazole 6-sol, which is sometimes used as a radiopharmaceutical. Flutamet, the trumpet fish. Flutames, plural of flutames. Flutiplayer, alternative spelling of flute player. Flutiplayers, plural of flutiplayer. Fluter, a flute player. Fluters, plural of fluter. Flutes, plural of flute. Flutes around, third person singular simple present indicative of flute around. Flutes all, plural of fluteful. Flutework, fluted ornamentation, groovework. Fluty, alternative spelling of fluty. Flutter, a surname. Flutter, very dry. Fluticasone, a synthetic corticosteroid whose furoate and propionate forms are used as topical anti-inflammatories. Fluteffect, the increase in fame and applications for an American university caused by a successful sports team. Flutic, comparative form of fluty, more fluty. Flut is superlative form of fluty, most fluty. Fluidily, in a fluty way. Flutine, an early precursor to the diatonic button accordion, having 1 or 2 rows of treble buttons, configured to have the tonic of the scale on the draw of the bellows. Flutinet, plural of flutina. Flutines, the state or condition of being fluty. Flute, present participle and gerund of flute. Fluting around, present participle and gerund of flute around. Flutingus, plural of fluting. Flutirex, the drug Tiflorex. Flutus, alternative form of flautist. Flutists, plural of flutists. Flutilino, a particular fungicide. Flutinity, an alpha-adrenergic agonist. Flutiphone, a small wind instrument resembling the recorder or clarinet used in elementary music education. Flutiphones, plural of flutiphone. Flutiprazepam, a benzodiazepine drug. Flutavol, a particular fungicide. Flutrimazole, a broad-spectrum antifungal drug derived from imidazole, used for the topical treatment of superficial mycosis of the skin. Flutter, to flap or wave quickly. but irregularly. Flutter in the dovecote, a disturbance, usually one caused within a group of people who are generally placid and unexcited. Flutter kick, a kick technique in which the swimmer kicks the legs alternately up and down for propulsion. Flutter kicks, plural of flutter kick. Flutter the dovecote, alternative form of flutter the dovecote. Flutter the dovecote, to create a disturbance, usually within a group of people who are generally placid and unexcited. Flutter the dovecotes, alternative form of flutter the dovecote. Flutter the dovecotes, alternative form of flutter the dovecote. Flutter time, alternative spelling of flutter tongue. Flutter time, simple past and past participle of flutter tongue. Flutter tongues, third person singular simple present indicative of flutter tongue. Flutter timing, present participle and gerund of flutter tongue. Flutter wheel, a water wheel placed below a fall or in a chute where rapidly moving water strikes the tips of the floats. Flutter wheels, plural of flutter wheel. Flutter time, to play very fast rhythms using a wind instrument by fluttering one's tongue with a trill. Flutter time, simple past and past participle of flutter tongue. Flutter times, third person singular simple present indicative of flutter tongue. Flutter tonguing, present participle and gerund of flutter tongue. Flutterable, able to flutter or be flutter. Flutteration, a state of agitation or uncertainty. Flutterations, plural of flutteration. Flutterball, a type of pitch, knuckleball. Flutterballs, plural of flutterball. Flutteries, plural of flutterby. Flutterboard, a buoyancy board made of foam used to support the body when in water. Flutterboards, plural of flutterboard. Fluttery, spoonerism of butterfly. Flutter, simple past and past participle of flutter. Fluttered the dovecote, simple past and past participle of flutter the dovecote. Flutterer, agent noun of flutter, one who flutters. Flutterers, plural of flutterer. Flutteress, second person singular simple present indicative of flutter. Flutteret, third person singular simple present indicative of flutter. Flutteriness, the state or quality of being fluttery. Fluttering, rapid back and forth waving or oscillation. Fluttering elm, synonym of European white elm Ulmus leavis. Fluttering elms, plural of fluttering elm. Fluttering the dovecote, present participle and gerund to flutter the dovecote. Flutteringly, in a fluttering manner. Flutterings, plural of fluttering. Flutterless, without fluttering. Flutterment, a state of fluttering excitement. Fluttermiss, plural of fluttermouse. Fluttermouse, the bat of flying mammal. Flutters, plural of flutter. Flutters the dovecote, third person singular simple present indicative of flutter the dovecote. Flutters some, marked by fluttering, by extension restless, nimble. Fluttery, that flutters, fluttering. Fluty, a surname. Fluties, plural of fluty. Fluvalinate, a synthetic pyrethroid commonly used to control varroa mites in honeybee colonies. Fluvanna, a hamlet in Ellicott, Chautauqua County, New York, United States. Fluvanna County, one of 95 counties in Virginia, United States. County seat, Palmyra. Fluvaquent, an aquent produced by frequent flooding. Fluvaquents, plural of fluvaquent. Fluvastatin, a drug of the statin class used to treat hypercholesterolemia and to prevent cardiovascular disease. Fluvet, a kind of alluvial soil where development is prevented by repeated deposition of sediment in periodic floods. Fluventic, relating to fluvents. Fluvents, plural of fluvent. Fluve, alternative form of fluvia. Fluvial, of pertaining to, inhabiting, or produced by the action of a river or stream. Fluvialis, one who explains geological phenomena by the action of streams. Fluvialists, plural of fluvialists. Fluviality, equality of a fluvial. Fluvele, by the action of a river stream. Fluvete, deposited or formed by rivers. Fluvete, belonging to rivers or streams. Fluviatile. Fluviatile, of pertaining to or produced by rivers. Fluvial. Fluvation, deposition of silt etc. by the action of a river or stream. Fluvations, plural of fluviation. Fluve, of fluviatile, marine or lacustrine origin. Fluta, river. Fluviadeltaic, alternative form of fluviadeltaic. Fluviadeltaic, fluvial and deltaic. Fluvialian, produced by flowing water and wind. Fluviogenic, produced by or in a river. Fluviagenous, synonym of fluviogenic. Fluviablatial. Describing a stream formed from glacial meltwater. Fluviograph, an instrument for measuring and automatically recording the rise and fall of a river. Fluviographe, related to the fluviography. Fluviagraphs, plural of fluviograph. Fluviography, measurement with the fluviograph. Fluviaphist, karst formed by moving water, typically by a river. Fluviakarste, relating to a fluviakarst. Fluviakarsts, plural of fluviakarsts. Fluvial, a small piccolo-like wooden flute used to accompany the sardana. Fluvialacustrine, produced by rivers and lakes especially alternately. Fluviological, relating to fluviology. Fluviologist, one who studies fluviology. Fluviologists, plural of fluviologists. Fluviology, the study of rivers. Fluvials, plural of fluvial. Fluviamine, formed by the joint action of a river and the sea. Fluviometer, a device used to measure the depth of water in a river and sometimes used to record its rise and fall. Fluviometers, plural of fluviometer. Fluviometry, relating to fluviometry. Fluviometry, measurement with a fluviometer. Fluviomorphological, relating to fluviomorphology. Fluviomorphology, the morphology of rivers. Fluvial, a lover of rivers. Fluvials, plural of fluviophile. Fluviaestuarial, relating to land and fresh water, but not the seas. Fluviosol, a genetically young kind of soil found in alluvial deposits. Fluvisols, plural of fluvisol. Fluvoxamine, a synthetic antidepressant drug which acts by prolonging the effect of the neurotransmitter serotonin on the brain. Plus, the act of flowing, a continues moving on or passing by, as of a flowing stream. Flux capacitor, a fictional instrument required to operate a time machine, consisting of a rectangular-shaped compartment with 3 flashing Jasler-style tubes arranged in a Y configuration. Flux capacitors, plural of flux capacitor. Flux densities, plural of flux density. Flux density, a measure of rate of flow of a fluid, particles, or energy per unit area. Flux unit, the otherwise unnamed unit of density of electromagnetic radiation from a radio star equal to 10 watts per square meter per hertz. Flux units, plural of flux unit. Fluxapyroxide, a particular fungicide. Fluxation, flowing. Fluxations, plural of fluxation. Flux brain, a form of brain postulated by supersymmetry and supergravity. Flux brains, plural of flux brain. Fluxed, simple past and past participle of flux. Fluxes, plural of flux. Fluxgate, any of several devices that use soft iron cores surrounded by coils of wire that generate a pattern of induced currents when it moves relative to an external magnetic field. Flux space, plural of fluxgate. Flexibility, the quality of being flexible. Flexible, capable of being melted or fused. Fluxibleness, the state or quality of being flexible. Fluxile, flexible. Fluxilities, plural of fluxility. Fluxility, the state of being fluxile. Fluximetric, relating to fluximetry. Fluximetry, the measurement of the flow of a fluid. Fluxe, present participle and gerund of flux. Fluxion, the derivative of a function. Fluxional, pertaining to or having the nature of fluxion or fluxions, variable, inconstant. Fluxional compound, a compound whose molecule undergoes rapid intramolecular rearrangements among equivalent structures in which the component atoms are interchanged. Fluxional compounds, plural of fluxional compound. Fluxionalities, plural of fluxionality. Fluxionality, the state of being fluxional. Fluxionally, in a fluxional manner. Fluxionary, fluxional. Fluxiont, simple past and past participle of fluxion. Fluxioming, present participle and gerund of fluxion. Fluxionist, one skilled in fluxions. Fluxionists, plural of fluxionists. Fluxions, third person singular simple present indicative of fluxion. Fluxine, the state or quality of experiencing constant changes. Fluxive, flowing, lacking solidity. Fluxless, that requires no flux. Flux-like, resembling a flux. Fluxogram, a form of flowchart. Fluxograms, plural of fluxogram. Fluxlay, Alexa. Fluxlades, plural of fluxway. Fluxome, all the metabolic fluxes in a cell. Fluxomer, a variable that combines isotopomer abundancy and the action flux. Fluxomers, Plural of fluxomer. Fluxomes. Plural of fluxome. Fluxomic, of or pertaining to fluxomics or to fluxomes. Fluxomics, the study of the flow of fluid and molecules within cells. Fluxon, the quasi-particle of electric or magnetic flux. Fluxonium, a superconducting artificial atom modeled from Josephson junctions. Fluxoniums, plural of fluxonium. Fluxons, plural of fluxon. Fluxotaxis, a technique used by robots to locate a chemical source by means of its mass flux. Fluxoturbidite, a turbidite formed by gravity-induced flows that have minimal turbulent mixing of particles. Fluxoturbidite, relating to a fluxoturbidite. Fluxstone, calcia-rich limestone used as a flux in metal smelting. Fluxstone, a cylindrical region of space containing a magnetic field that is parallel to the walls of the cylinder. Fluxdudes, plural of fluxdu. Fluctuate, misspelling of fluctuate. Fluctuated, misspelling of fluctuated. Fluctuates, misspelling of fluctuates. Fluctuating, misspelling of fluctuating. Fluctuation, misspelling of fluctuation. Fluctuations, misspelling of fluctuations. Fluxure, the quality of being fluid. Fluidity. Fluxus, an international movement of artists, poets, composers, and designers of the 1960s and 1970s, noted for experimental syntheses of different media and disciplines. Fluxy, resembling or characteristic of a state of flow or change. Flight, a kind of Dutch sailing vessel developed in the 16th century, used to transport cargo. Flights, plural of flight. Fly, a river in Papua New Guinea. Fly a desk, to be assigned as a member of a flying organization, Air Force, airline, etc. to office duty, usually said of a person who is or has previously been qualified to fly an aircraft. Fly a kite, to raise money on commercial notes. To obtain money is by accommodation bills, the endorser having no actual money. Fly agaric, a poisonous and hallucinogenic mushroom, Amanita muscaria, with a large crimson cap, fading to yellow, scattered with white flecks. Fly agarics, plural of fly agaric. Fly amanita, fly agaric. Fly amanitas, plural of fly amanita. Fly and fly, a kind of holiday where a person travels somewhere to relax, without any detailed itinerary of activities. Fly apart. To break into many pieces by exploding, literally or figuratively. Fly ash, a residue generated in the combustion of powdered coal or other materials comprising the fine particles that rise with the flue gases. When generated industrially, it is usually captured and can be recycled for use in construction materials. Flat, to viciously and aggressively attack someone either physically or verbally. Fly baker, to undergo menstruation. Fly ball, a batted ball that has been hit into the above the outfield, a fly. Fly balls, plural of fly ball. Fly belt, a region where tsetse flies are to be found. Fly belts, plural of fly belt. Fly biscuit, Garibaldi biscuit, currents squashed between two thin, rectangular biscuits. Fly biscuit, plural of fly biscuit. Fly blind, to do by guesswork, to feel one's way. Fly bomb, alternative form of flying bomb. Fly bombs, plural of fly bomb. Fly box, a box in which a fly fisherman keeps his flies. Fly boxes, plural of fly box. Fly by, used other than figuratively or idiomatically. See fly by. Fly by the seat of one's pants, to pilot an aircraft without the aid of instruments and without a flight plan, using only instinct, visual observation, and practical judgment. Fly fishing, a form of angling whereby the weight of the line is used to cast a lure visually resembling a fly. Fly fungi, plural of fly fungus. Fly fungus, synonym of fly agaric. Fly grazing, the grazing of animals such as horses on land without the permission of the landowner. Fly aft, alternative form of fly half. Fly high, to be elated, thrilled. Fly in, to use a flying switch to switch train cars. Fly in the buttermill, a black person in a predominantly white group of people. Fly in the face of, to act in a manner highly contrary to counteract or contradict. Fly in the ointment, something especially a minor thing which ruins or spoils everything else or makes it less pleasant, a nuisance or problem, a disagreeable or unpleasant detail. Fly into, to erupt in an emotional outburst. Fly into a rage, to become very angry. Fly killer, a small toy pellet gun. Fly killers, plural of fly killer. Fly like a rock, to travel through the air with little or no benefit from aerodynamic lift. Fly line, a line for angling with an artificial fly. Fly lines, plural of fly line. Fly lot, alternative form of fly loft. Fly lofts, plural of fly lofts. Fly low, to have one's fly zipper undone. Fly off, to flee rapidly, to run away. Fly off at a tangent, to digress from a topic. Fly off the handle, to become very angry or enraged, to throw a fit or go crazy. Fly off the shelves, to be sold in large quantities very rapidly. Fly on the wall, a quiet, non-participating or unseen observer, an eavesdropper or witness. Fly orchid, a European orchid with small brownish flowers that look like insects, Ophrys insectivora. Fly orchids, plural of fly orchid. Fly out, to travel by airplane to a destination. Fly out of the blocks, to begin quickly. Fly out of the taps, to start quickly. Flyouts, plural of fly out. Fly paper, alternative form of fly paper. Fly papers, plural of fly paper. Fly powder, a poisonous powder used as an insecticide against flies. Fly powders, plural of fly powder. Fly rail, the part of a drawing table that turns out to support the leaf. Fly rails, plural of fly rail. Fly river turtle, Australasian pig-nosed turtle Kertochles insculpta. Fly river turtles, plural of fly river turtle. Fly rod, alternative spelling of fly rod. Fly rods, plural of fly rod. Fly route, A pattern run by a receiver straight upfield towards the end zone with the aim of outrunning any defensive backs and getting behind them, catching an undefended pass while running untouched for a touchdown. Fly routes, plural of fly route. Fly screen, a window screen. Fly screens, plural of fly screen. Fly sheet, an extra cover of a tent to protect against insects and bad weather. Fly sheets, plural of fly sheet. Fly slip, a position deeper than the conventional slips between the slips and third man. Fly slips, plural of fly slip. Fly solo, to do something without aid or supervision. Fly spray, an insecticide, especially one for killing flies. Fly sprays, plural of fly spray. Fly swat, synonym of fly swatter. Fly swats, plural of fly swat. Fly swatter, alternative form of fly swatter. Fly swatters, plural of fly swatter. Fly system, a system of theatrical rigging using ropes, blocks, etc., allowing the stage crew to fly hoist components such as curtains, lights, and scenery. Fly systems, plural of fly system. Fly the blue pigeon, to steal lead from the roof or other parts of a building. Fly the coop, to depart hastily or unannounced, to escape or flee. Fly a flag, to be registered in a particular country and display that country's flag as a result of a ship, airline, etc. Fly the freak flag, to behave in an unconventional or unrestrained manner, to exhibit the uninhibited side of one's personality. Fly the kite, alternative form of fly a kite, raise money. Fly the nest, to leave one's parents or childhood guardians and begin an independent life as an adult. Fly too close to the sun, to become overly ambitious or greedy, to overreach oneself, to reach for something unattainable or unachievable. Fly trap, alternative spelling of fly trap. Fly traps, plural of fly trap. Fly under the radar, to go unnoticed, especially for a long period of time. Fly upon, Asias. Fly window, synonym of quarter glass. Fly windows, plural of fly window. Fly with leaden wings, to pass slowly. Fly without a license, to inadvertently have one's fly's trouser opening undone. Fly ass, very smart, beautiful, or well-dressed. Fly away, alternative form of fly away. Flyback, alternative form of flyback. Flybacks, plural of flyback. Fly bitten, wretched or sordid, mean. Fly blown, alternative spelling of fly blown. Flyboat, alternative form of flyboat. Flyboats, plural of flyboat. Flybound, hit by flying bombs. Flybox, alternative spelling of flybox. Flyboxes, plural of flybox. Flyboy, alternative form of flyboy. Flyboys, plural of flyboy. Flyby, alternative form of flyby. Flyby salute, a ceremonial flight by an aircraft or group of aircraft to honor someone or something. Flyby salutes, plural of flyby salute. Fly by night, a creature which flies at night, a nocturnal flyer or traveler. Fly-by-nighter. Synonym of fly-by-night, one who appears and or disappears rapidly, appearing untrustworthy. Fly-by-nighters. Plural of fly-by-nighter. Fly-by-nights. Plural of fly-by-night. Fly-by-wire. A system that replaces the conventional manual flight controls of an aircraft with an electronic interface, especially on airliners. Flybys. Plural of flyby. Flycatcher. Alternative form of flycatcher. Flycatchers. Plural of flycatcher. Flyfish. To fish using a fly fishing lure as bait. Flyfisher. Alternative form of flyfisher. Fly fishing. Alternative spelling of fly fishing. Fly grazing. Alternative spelling of fly grazing. Flyer. A rugby player who is normally the first receiver of the ball from the scrum half after a scrum, a halfback. Fly halves. Plural of fly half. Fly-in. An informal gathering of private pilots and their aircraft at a prearranged airfield. Fly-in, fly-out. A method of employing people in remote areas by flying them temporarily to the work site instead of permanently relocating them. Fly-ins. Plural of fly-in. Flyover. Alternative form of flyover. Flyovers. Plural of flyover. Flypaper. Alternative form of flypaper. Flypaper. Simple past and past participle of flypaper. Flypapering. Present participle and gerund of flypaper. Flypapers. Plural of flypaper. Flypass. Alternative form of flypast. Flypasts. Plural of flypasts. Flypitch. To sell goods on the street without a vendor's license, usually from a small suitcase, wooden crate, etc. ready to depart hurriedly if the authorities arrive. Flypitch. Simple past and past participle of flypitch. Flypitcher. An illicit street trader, one who engages in fly pitching. Fly pitchers. Plural of fly pitcher. Fly pitches. Third person singular simple present indicative of fly pitch. Fly pitching. Present participle and gerund of fly pitch. Fly post. Alternative form of fly post. Fly posted. Simple past and past participle of fly post. Fly post. A poster, especially for advertisement purposes, put up illegally. Fly posters. Plural of fly poster. Fly posting. The act of posting posters in prohibited or illegal areas, especially for advertisement purposes. Fly posts. Third person singular simple present indicative of fly post. Fly rod. Alternative spelling of fly rod. Fly rods. Plural of fly rod. Fly sheet. Alternative form of fly sheet. Fly sheets. Plural of fly sheet. Fly swatter. Alternative form of fly swatter. Fly swatters. Plural of fly swatter. Fly through. Alternative form of fly through. Fly throughs. Plural of fly through. Fly tip. To dispose of waste garbage illegally rather than at an authorized dump location. Fly tipped. Simple past and past participle of fly tip. Fly tipper. One who engages in fly tipping. Fly tippers. Plural of fly tipper. Fly tipping. The illegal dumping of rubbish on unauthorized sites. Fly tips. plural of flytrap. Flytrap. Alternative spelling of flytrap. Flytraps. Plural of flytrap. Flyunder. Alternative form of flyunder. Flyunders. Plural of flyunder. Flywire. Alternative form of flywire. Flywires. Plural of flywire. Flyabilities. Plural of flyability. Flyability. Equality of being fly. Flyable. Able to be flown. Airworthy. Fly around. A flight around a planetary object or spaceship without landing or docking. Fly arounds. Plural of fly around. Fly away. Disposed to fly away. Unrestrained, light and free. Flyaway cost. The marginal cost of an aircraft, including production costs but excluding R&D, supplementary equipment, and future costs such as spare parts and maintenance. Flyaway costs. Plural of flyaway costs. Flyaway glasses. Synonym of flyaway spectacles. Flyaway grass. The hair grass agrostiscabra. Flyaway spectacles. A style of spectacles or sunglasses popular in the 1950s, having approximately oval, thick frames with wing-like protrusions at the top outer edges. Flyaways. Plural of flyaway. Flyday. The movement of the electron beam back to its initial position between scan lines in a cathode ray tube display. Flybacks. Plural of flyback. Flyball. Alternative spelling of flyball. Flyballs. Plural of flyball. Flybang. Any sessile organism thought to be harmful to or deterrent of flies. Flybands. Plural of flybang. Flybar. A stabilizing bar on a helicopter rotor. Flybarless. Without a flybar. Flybars. Plural of flybar. Fly out. Alternative form of fly belt. Fly belts. Plural of fly belt. Flyblow. Simple past of flyblow. Flyblow. An egg laid by a fly in animal flesh. A maggot hatched from such an egg. Flyblowing. Present participle and gerund of flyblow. Flyblown. Tainted. Flyblows. Plural of flyblow. Flyboarding. Publicizing a real estate agent by putting up fake sold or for sale signs. Flyboat. A large flat-bottomed Dutch coasting vessel. Flyboats. Plural of flyboat. Flyboat. A small case for holding fishing flies. Flybooks. Plural of flybook. Flyboy. An aircraft pilot, especially of a military combat aircraft. Flybuzz. Plural of flyboy. Flybridge. A flying bridge. Flybridges. Plural of flybridge. Flyby. A flight past a celestial object in order to make observations. Flyby anomaly. The discrepancy between current scientific models and the actual increase in speed observed during a planetary flyby by a spacecraft. Flybys. Plural of flyby. Flyhatch. To catch another creature while in flight. Flycatcher. Any of many kinds of birds of the family Muscicapidae of Africa, Europe, and Asia that catch insects in flight. An old world flycatcher. Flycatcher shrike. Either of two species of birds in the genus Hemipus. Flycatcher shrikes. Plural of flycatcher shrike. Flycatchers. Plural of flycatcher. Flycatches. Third person singular simple present indicative of flycatch. Flycatching. Catching insects while in flight. Flycaught. Simple past and past participle of flycatch. Flycup. A clever police officer with plenty of experience. Flycups. Plural of flycup. Flycraft. A machine, device, or vessel that is capable of flight. Flycrafts. Plural of flycraft. Flycrank. A type of mechanical crank. Flycranks. Plural of flycrank. Fly. A surname. Flyer. That which flies as a bird or insect. Flyer. Simple past and past participle of flyer. Flyer. A person who distributes flyers. Flyering. The act of distributing flyers, leaflets. Flyers. Plural of flyer. Flies. Plural of fly. Flyest. Superlative form of fly. Most fly. Fly. Third person singular simple present indicative of fly. Fly. That flies or can fly. Voyage. Sebast and Sif are the name given in most sources. Sebastithes rhodocoris seems to be a synonym for this, a brightly colored scorpionoid fish of California. Fly fisher. A person who goes fly fishing. Fly fisherman. Fly fisher. Fly fisherman. Plural of fly fishermen. Fly fishers. Plural of fly fisher. Fly fish. Plural of fly fish. Fly fishing. Alternative form of fly fishing. Fly fly. A piece of leather etc. attached to a stick to be swung to drive away flies. Fly flapper. Synonym of fly flap. Fly flappers. Plural of fly flapper. Fly flaps. Plural of fly flap. Flyack. Alternative spelling of fly half. Flyaths. Plural of fly half. Fly off. A skilled outfielder. Fly ox. Plural of fly hawk. Fly. Pronunciation and spelling of flying. Flying. That flies or can fly. Flying a kite. Present participle and gerund to fly a kite. Flying ace. Flying aces. Plural of flying ace. Flying apart. Present participle and gerund to fly apart. Flying arch. A form of arch that does not carry any vertical load, but is provided solely to supply outward horizontal forces to resist an inwards compression. They are used to cross cuttings to avoid them collapsing inwards. Flying arches. Plural of flying arch. Flying armies. Plural of flying army. Flying army. A body of cavalry and infantry kept in motion to cover its own garrisons and to keep the enemy in continual alarm. Flying at. Present participle and gerund to fly at. Flying baker. Present participle and gerund to fly baker. Flying banana. The new measurement train, the high-speed track testing train used on the British railway network. Flying bishop. an itinerant bishop of the Church of England appointed to administer within another's diocese to those who refuse to accept the ordination of women. Flying bishops, plural of flying bishop. Flying blind, present participle and gerund to fly blind. Flying boats, a fixed-wing seaplane with a hull capable of landing on water, but unless also equipped with wheels not on land. Flying boats, plural of flying boat. Flying bomb, any early guided missile, but especially the V-1. Flying bombs, plural of flying bomb. Flying brick, an aircraft which is too heavy and lacks sufficient power to be maneuvered easily. Flying bricks, plural of flying brick. Flying bridge, a usually open area on top of or at the side of a ship's pilot house, serving as an operating station for the officers in good weather or when maneuvering in port. Flying bridges, plural of flying bridge. Flying buttress, a buttress that stands apart from the structure that it supports and is connected to it by an arch flyer. Flying buttresses, plural of flying buttress. Flying by, present participle and gerund to fly by. Flying by the seat of one's pants, present participle and gerund to fly by the seat of one's pants. Flying camp, a body of troops for rapid motion from one place to another. Flying camps, plural of flying camp. Flying car, a vehicle which can function both as a road vehicle and as an aircraft. Flying car, a fish of the species Hypophthalmoctes mollitrix, native to East Asia, cultivated as a food fish, highly invasive in U.S., also known as a silver carp. Flying carpet, a carpet capable either of magical flight or instantaneous transport from one place to another, used as a means of travel. Flying carpets, plural of flying carpet. Flying carps, plural of flying car. Flying cat, a colugo or flying lemur in the family Cynocephalidae. Flying cats, plural of flying cat. Flying circus, a German fighter wing in World War I. Flying circuses, plural of flying circus. Flying coffin, an aircraft with an unacceptably high accident rate. Flying coffins, plural of flying coffin. Flying colors, alternative spelling of flying colors. Flying colors, great success. Flying column, a small, independent, military land unit capable of rapid mobility, often using guerrilla tactics against a larger force. Flying columns, plural of flying column. Flying comb, a diabolo. Flying cymbal, a style of rapid hi-hat drumming associated with reggae music. Flying disc, synonym of frisbee the object. Flying disc golf, synonym of disc golf. Flying discs, plural of flying disc. Flying disc, synonym of frisbee. Flying discs, plural of flying disc. Flying doctor, a doctor who uses a light aircraft to visit patients, especially in remote and sparsely inhabited regions. Flying doctors, plural of flying doctor. Flying dragon, Draco volans, a gliding lizard endemic to Southeast Asia. Flying dragons, plural of flying dragon. Flying Dutchman, A mythical Dutch-flagged ghost clipper that is very fast sailing and never makes it to port, seen on the high seas, where upon being hailed, occupants request information on persons long dead or leave messages for said people. In European naval folklore, it was considered to portend bad luck. Flying Dutchman, plural of Flying Dutchman. Flying Fae, synonym of Flying Fuck. Flying Figs, plural of Flying Fig. Flying Fish, used other than figuratively or idiomatically, see Flying Fish. Flying Fishes, plural of Flying Fish. Flying Fortress, the Boeing B-17, a United States WW-2 heavy bomber based upon a reputation for toughness and reliability, as well as its relatively heavy defensive armament at the expense of bomb load. Flying Fox, a large Australasian bat of the genera Pteropus or a Saurodon in the family Pteropodidae, having a fox-like face. Flying Foxes, plural of Flying Fox. Flying Freehold, the freehold of property in an upper story above a lower story that belongs to a different freehold, the converse of creeping freehold. Flying Freeholds, plural of Flying Freehold. Flying Frog, any type of frog with the ability to glide. Flying Frogs, plural of Flying Frog. Flying Fuck, used as a further intensification of fuck in some phrases. Flying Fox, plural of Flying Fuck. Flying Ginnies, plural of Flying Ginny. Flying Ginny, alternative form of Flying Jenny. Flying Gurnard, any tropical marine fish of the family Dactylopteridae, having immense wing-like pectoral fins used to glide through the water. Flying Gurnards, plural of Flying Gurnard. Flying Handkerchief, an African swallowtail butterfly, Papiliodardanus, with white wings reminiscent of a handkerchief. Flying Handkerchiefs, plural of Flying Handkerchief. Flying Hatchetfish, a fish Gasteroplacidae. Flying Helmet, a leather head covering with ear flips used by early aviators. Flying Helmets, plural of Flying Helmet. Flying High, present participle and gerund to fly high. Flying In, present participle and gerund to fly in. Flying in the face of, present participle and gerund to fly in the face of. Flying into, present participle and gerund to fly into. Flying Jennies, plural of Flying Jenny. Flying Jenny, roundabout, merry-go-round. Flying Jib, the foremost of the jibs of a square-rigged sailing vessel. Flying Jib Boom, a jib boom with an additional outboard jib boom attached. Flying Jib Booms, plural of Flying Jib Boom. Flying Jibs, plural of Flying Jib. Flying Junction, a junction where the diverging line crosses the main line on a bridge, the purpose being the avoidance of conflicting movements. Flying Junctions, plural of Flying Junction. Flying Kiss, a symbolic kiss given by kissing one's own hand, then blowing on the hand in a direction toward the recipient. Flying Kisses, plural of Flying Kiss. Flying Knee, a strike performed by jumping forward and hitting the opponent with a knee. Flying Knees, plural of Flying Knee. Flying Lap, in qualifying, a competitive lap to set a fast time as opposed to an in-lap or out-lap. Flying Laps, plural of Flying Lap. Flying Lemur, a Caludo family SBP having membranes between the front and hind legs similar to those of flying squirrels. Flying Lemurs, plural of Flying Lemur. Flying Lizard, any of the species of lizards that are capable of gliding of the genus Draco. Flying low, present participle and gerund to fly low. Flying machine, early term for an aircraft, a machine for flying in gerund, a machine that flies participial adjective. Flying machines, plural of flying machine. Flying mare, a kind of shoulder throw. Flying mares, plural of flying mare. Flying meat, the carefully timed situation in which two opposing trains on a nominally single-track line meet at the siding and are able to pass each other without stopping, because they have reached the siding simultaneously. Flying meats, plural of flying meat. Flying mice, plural of flying mouse. Flying monkeys, synonym of winged monkeys, ominous pawns of evil forces. Flying mouse, any species of rodent in the genus Idiurus, native to parts of tropical Africa, which have the ability to glide. Flying off, present participle and gerund of fly off. Flying off at a tangent, present participle and gerund of fly off at a tangent. Flying off the handle, present participle and gerund of fly off the handle. Flying off the shelves, present participle and gerund of fly off the shelves. Flying officer, a person holding a rank in the RAF between that of pilot officer and flight lieutenant, equivalent to an Army lieutenant or Royal Navy sub-lieutenant. Flying officers, plural of flying officer. Flying ointment, an herbal ointment used by witches to achieve altered states of consciousness, often made with plants of the nightshade family. Flying out, present participle and gerund of fly out. Flying out of the traps, present participle and gerund of fly out of the traps. Flying parties, plural of flying party. Flying party, a body of soldiers detailed to hover about an enemy. Flying phalanger, Taurus. Flying phalangers, plural of flying phalanger. Flying picket, a person or group of people who can be rapidly deployed to different locations in order to picket workplaces, take part in blockades or other protests during an industrial dispute between workers and employers. Flying pickets, plural of flying picket. Flying purple people eater, a fanciful monster. Flying purple people eaters, plural of flying purple people eater. Flying purple people eater, alternative form of flying purple people eater. Flying purple people eaters, plural of flying purple people eater. Flying rat, a rock pigeon or a seagull living in an urban environment, especially one regarded as pesky, loud, or a scavenger. Flying rats, plural of flying rats. Flying rib, an exposed structural beam over the uppermost part of a building which is not otherwise connected to the building at its highest point. Flying ribs, plural of flying rib. Flying rod, a linear phenomenon caught on camera but not seen by the eye, suggested to be flying insects, cryptids, or invisible UFOs. Flying rods, plural of flying rod. Flying rowan, a rowan tree growing parasitically on another tree or from a wall, roof, etc. once believed in Scandinavia to have magical powers. Flying rowans, plural of flying rowan. Flying saucer, a disc-shaped unidentified flying object or UFO, originally in reference to sightings by aviator Kenneth Arnold in Washington in 1947. Flying saucer group, UFO religion. Flying saucer groups. Plural of flying saucer group. Flying saucers. Plural of flying saucer. Flying school. A specialized school that teaches future pilots how to fly an aircraft. Flying schools. Plural of flying school. Flying shit. Synonym of flying fuck. Flying shits. Plural of flying shit. Flying shot. A shot fired at a moving object, such as a bird on the wing. Flying shots. Plural of flying shot. Flying solo. Present participle and gerund to fly solo. Flying spaghetti monster. A deity consisting of spaghetti and meatballs, the creator of the universe according to the religion of Pastafarianism. Flying spaghetti monster. A bathypelagic species of Siphonophora or Bathyphisa coniferaa, found in the northern Atlantic Ocean and off the coast of southwestern Africa and California. Flying spaghetti monsterism. A parody religion centered around the flying spaghetti monster, a creator deity who resembles spaghetti and meatballs. Flying sport. Any activity involving aviation for aviated position. Flying sports include air racing, Humboldt aircraft, ultralight aviation, and hot air ballooning. Flying sports. Plural of flying sport. Flying squad. A rapid response unit of a police force. Flying squads. Plural of flying squad. Flying squid. Any of various species of the family Amostrophidae with the ability to glide in air above the water. Flying squids. Plural of flying squid. Flying squirrel. Any of 43 species of squirrel-like rodents which glide from tree to tree. Flying squirrels. Plural of flying squirrel. Flying start. An especially good start. Flying starts. Plural of flying start. Flying stationer. Synonym of running stationer. Flying stationers. Plural of flying stationer. Flying the coop. Present participle and gerund to fly the coop. Flying the flag. Present participle and gerund to fly the flag. Flying the kite. Present participle and gerund to fly the kite. Flying the nest. Present participle and gerund to fly the nest. Flying toilet. A plastic bag used for defecation and subsequently thrown away. Flying toilets. Plural of flying toilet. Flying too close to the sun. Present participle of fly too close to the sun. Flying under the radar. Present participle and gerund of fly under the radar. Flying upon. Present participle and gerund to fly upon. Flying V. A wooden electric guitar with a futuristic shape. Flying visit. A very short visit. Flying visits. Plural of flying visit. Flying voter. A voter who is registered in more than one voting precinct, usually one who has failed to transfer or cancel voter registration after a change of residence. Flying voters. Plural of flying voter. Flying VS. Plural of flying V. Flying wedge. A formation in which a group travels so that its components form a triangular shape. Flying wedges. Plural of flying wedge. Flying white. A kind of calligraphic technique that involves applying a relatively dry brush at high speed to create dry, streaky strokes. Flying wing. A tailless fixed-wing aircraft that has no definite fuselage. Flying wings. Plural of flying wing. Flying with leaden wings. Present participle and gerund to fly with leaden wings. Flying without a license. present participle and gerund to fly without a license. Flying fish, alternative form of flying fish. Flying fishes, plural of flying fish. Flyingly, so as to fly, with light rapid movement. Flyings, plural of flying. Flyleaf, a blank leaf at the front or back of a book. Flyleaves, plural of flyleaf. Flyleaves, plural of flyleaf. Flyless, without flies the insect. Flylessness, absence of flies the insects. Fly-line, alternative form of fly line. Fly lines, plural of fly line. Fly lot, the area above the stage of a theater where scenery, curtains, and lighting are hung. Fly lots, plural of fly lots. Fly maker, one who makes artificial flies for use in fishing. Fly makers, plural of fly maker. Flyman, someone who drives the type of coach called a fly. Flyman, plural of flyman. Fly, in fly fishing, a lure imitating an insect that is not yet a fly, but no longer a nymph. Phlymus, plural of phlyme. Flyness, the quality of being shep or smat in appearance. What a net to catch flies or used as a protection against flies, as in an open window to prevent their entrance. Flennets, plural of flinnet. What? A surname from Irish. Plenifact, the continuous worldwide increase in average scores on intelligence tests. Flineffects, plural of Flynn effect. Flynn's taxonomy, a system for classification of computer architectures based on the number of concurrent instruction or control streams and data streams available. Flaird syndrome, a rare hereditary neurological disease with defects in the nervous, auditory, skeletal, visual, and endocrine systems. What? A surname. Flens, plural of flint. Flair, a competitive demonstration of aircraft or other equipment to determine which will be selected by the client. Flyas, plural of fly off. Flare, alternative form of flare off. Flare, alternative form of fly out. Flyouts, plural of fly out. Flyover, a low-level flight, especially of military aircraft of a ceremonial nature, a flypast British. Flyover country, the parts of the United States between the east and west coasts. Flyover state, any state of the United States that is often passed over by intercoastal or transcontinental flights, rather than being a popular destination. Flyover states, plural of flyover state. Flyovers, plural of flyover. Flypaper, a strip of paper coated with a sticky, often poisonous, substance that catches and kills flies that land on it. Flypaper theory, the idea that the burdens of taxation stick to those taxed directly instead of spreading through the economy. Flypaper, simple past and past participle of flypaper. Flypapering, present participle and gerund of flypaper. Flypapers, plural of flypaper. Flybast, a low-level flight of a ceremonial nature, a flyover U.S. Flybasts, plural of flypast. Fly, a fold or flap, especially of the brim of a hat. Flight, simple past and past participle of flight. Flyvehicle, plural of flyperson. Flyperson, someone who operates a fly system in a theater. Flights, plural of fly. Flight. Bang, present participle and gerund of fly. Fly pitch, alternative form of flight pitch. Fly pitches, third person singular simple present indicative of fly pitch. Fly post, to place flyers or similar promotional material without permission. Fly posted, simple past and past participle of fly posts. Fly poster, one who illegally posts flyers or similar material in public places. Fly posters, plural of fly poster. Fly posting, alternative form of fly posting. Fly posts, third person singular simple present indicative of fly posts. Fly brew, resistant to flies the insect. Flyrobin, any of various petrosid birds of the genera Microeca and Montichella of Australia and New Guinea. Flyrobins, plural of flyrobin. Fly rod, a thin, flexible fishing rod designed to cast an artificial fly. Fly rodder, an angler who fishes with a fly rod. Fly rodders, plural of fly rodder. Fly rods, plural of fly rod. Flies, plural of fly. Huaish, a set of tertiary strata in the Alps. Flyas, plural of flesh. Flyhalai, resembling or characteristic of a flesh. Flysky, synonym of fleisch-like. Flysky, alternative form of flysky. Fly screen, a screen attached to the front of a motorcycle designed to prevent insects from flying into the rider. Fly screens, plural of fly screen. Fly sheet, an extra cover of a tent to protect against insects and bad weather. Fly sheets, plural of fly sheet. Fly speck, anything tiny or insignificant. Fly specked, covered with fly specks. Fly specking, a technique for painting furniture with flicked drops of paint. Fly specks, plural of fly speck. Fly spray, alternative form of fly spray. Fly sprays, plural of fly spray. Flyza, a sharp weapon that originates in pre-colonial Algeria. Flysas, plural of flysa. Flystrike, theases. Flystra, affected with miasis. Flyswat, alternative form of fly swat. Flyswats, plural of flyswat. Flyswatter, a handheld device for swatting flies or other insects to kill or shoot them. Flyswatters, plural of flyswatter. Flight, alternative spelling of flight. Flighted, simple past and past participle of flight. Flights, plural of flight. Fly, a surname. Flies, plural of fly. Flyroo, a visual sequence in a film, etc., in which the camera appears to pass over a landscape at high speed. Flyroos, plural of fly-through. Flyder, a person who makes flies for fly fishing. Flydeers, plural of flydeer. Fly time, the time of the year when there are a lot of flies in a certain place. Fly dimes, plural of flight time. Flighting, Contention, moisi argument. Flightings, plural of flighting. Flight, alternative form of flight tip. Flight, alternative form of flight tip. Past of flight. Flightipper, alternative form of flight tipper. Flightipers, plural of flightipper. Flightipping, alternative form of flight tipping. Flightips, alternative form of flight tips, plural of flight. Fly trap, a trap for catching flies. Fly traps, plural of fly trap. Flyade, a road or rail underpass. Flyanders, plural of fly under. Flyaway, a migratory route used by birds between breeding areas. Flyaways, plural of flyaway. Flyweight, a weight that moves outward depending on centrifugal force. Flyweight pattern, a structural design pattern in which an object contains no pointers to data type methods. Flyweight patterns, plural of flyweight pattern. Flyweights, plural of flyweight. Flywheel, a rotating mass used to maintain the speed of a machine within certain limits while the machine receives or releases energy at a varying rate or as a form of energy storage. Flywheels, plural of flywheel. Flywhisk, a whisk used to brush away flies. Flywhisks, plural of flywisk. Flywire, a type of screening used to exclude flies and other insects. Flywires, plural of flywire. Flywary, capable of flight. Airworthy. FM, initialism of frequency modulation. FM, abbreviation of from. FMA. Initialism of Filipino martial arts. FMA, the presence of an abnormally small number of platelets in a fetus blood due to the mother's antibodies having been passed via the placenta and attacking the platelets. FMAPE, a deficiency in the number of platelets in a fetus blood due to the mother's antibodies having been passed via the placenta and attacking the fetus' own platelets. FMC, initialism of first medical contact. FMCG, initialism of fast-moving consumer goods. FMCSA, initialism of Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration, a government regulatory agency in the United States. FMD, initialism of fibromuscular dysplasia. FMD, plural of FMD. FRE, initialism of failure mode and effects analysis. FMF, initialism of familial Mediterranean fever. FMF, plural of FMF. FMG, initialism of Fortescue Metals Group. FMEG, initialism of Fender Musical Instruments Corporation. SMJ, abbreviation of Full Metal Jacket. SMJ, plural of FMJ. FMK, abbreviation of Finnish mark currency. FMKS, plural of FMK. FML, initialism of fuck my life expressing despairing annoyance. FML, abbreviation of formal. FMLA, initialism of Family and Medical Leave Act. SMLY, abbreviation of formally. FMN, initialism of flavin mononucleotide. SMNV, initialism of full mobile number portability. FMOL, abbreviation of fentanyl. FVOL, metrology symbol for femtomole, and C unit of amount of substance equal to 10 moles. F moles, plural of F mole. F moles, plural of F mol. FMQ, singular of FMQs. FMQ, initialism of First Minister's questions. FMR, abbreviation of former. FMR, abbreviation of former. FMRI, initialism of functional magnetic resonance imaging. FMRI, plural of fMRI. MS, initialism of false memory syndrome. FM, plural of FM. ANT, initialism of fecal microbiota transplantation. ANT, abbreviation of format. ANTUE, initialism of family of medium tactical vehicles. FMV, initialism of full motion video. FMV, plural of FMV. FMVSS, initialism of Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. FMX, initialism of Fire Monkey. FMZ, Fanzin. Evan, initialism of footnote. Evan, alternative form of FN function. FN FAL, alternative form of FNFAL. FN FAL, plural of FNF. FAL. FN FAL, the NATO Standard Assault Rifle. FN FAL, plural of FNFAL. EVA, alternative form of FN. FNA, initialism of fine needle aspiration. FNAF, alternative letter case form of FNAF. FNAF, acronym of Five Nights at Freddy's, a video game series. FNAR, representing a crude laugh, especially in response to sexual innuendo. FNAR, alternative form of FNAR. FNBP1, abbreviation of formin binding protein 1. FNC, initialism of Fox News Channel. FNC, initialism of forum non-convenience. FND, initialism of functional neurologic or neurological disorder. FNDD, abbreviation of founded. FNDG, abbreviation of fading. FNEJS, plural of FNDG. FNDN, the fans of the American online animated series RWBY. FNDN, abbreviation of foundation. FNNS, plural of FNDN. FNDA, abbreviation of founder. FNRS, plural of FNDI. FND, plural of FND. FNF, initialism of fault not found. FNG, initialism of fucking new guy. FNG, plural of FNG. FNHEA, initialism of febrile non-hemolytic transfusion reaction. FNERS, acronym of functional near-infrared spectroscopy. FNMA, initialism of Federal National Mortgage Association. FNMI, initialism of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit. FNN, abbreviation of feed-forward neural network. FNN, plural of FNN. FNO, initialism of foreign national offender. FNOR, a medicine tactic variable similar to foo and bar. FNORDS, plural of FNORD. FNB, Initialism of family nurse practitioner. FNP, plural of FNP. Thank you. Initialism of Far North Queensland. FNR, initialism of Fast Neutron Reactor. FNR, plural of FNR. ATNS, initialism of French naval ship, a ship prefix for ships of the Navy of the Third Republic of France. FN, plural of FN. ATNS, plural of FN. FNSA, initialism of functional neurological symptom disorder. FNSAS, plural of FNSD. FNS, plural of FNS. FNU, initialism of first name unknown used on birth certificates or airline reservations. FNV, initialism of fallow nolvo hash function. The initialism of first officer. The Buddha in the context of Chinese Buddhism. Fo Shizi, pronunciation spelling of for Shizi, representing African American vernacular English. Fo Shizzle, for sure, of course, right on. Fo Shizzle my nizzle, a more emphatic and familiar form of fo shizzle for sure, my friend, used to stress the following sentence. Fo show, pronunciation spelling of for sure. The pronunciation spelling of for. Fo shizi, pronunciation spelling of for shizi, representing African American vernacular English. Fo shizzle, alternative spelling of faux shizzle. Faux show, alternative spelling of faux show. Though, pronunciation spelling of 4-4 a .44 caliber gun, especially the .44 Magnum. Those, plural of faux. Pox, alternative form of foxhole. Foxhole lamp, a forecastle lamp. Foxhole lamps, plural of foxhole lamp. Foxholes, plural of foxhole. Foxhole, forecastle. Foxholes, plural of foxhole. Foxhole, alternative form of foxhole. Foxholes, plural of foxhole. Forecastle, alternative form of forecastle. Forecastles, plural of forecastle. Fodder, pronunciation spelling of forever. Fochan, alternative form of fashion. Fokin, alternative form of Fujian. Fokaian, alternative form of Fujian. Fosha, alternative form of fashion. The abbreviation of folio. Initialism of freedom of association. An island of Tonga. Thought, initialism of father of all bombs. The initialism of fuck off and die. The acronym of friend of a friend. The alternative letter case form of fof. Of plural of fof. Oh, a young horse or other equine, especially just after birth or less than a year old. Full immunodeficiency syndrome, a recessive genetic disease that mainly affects two breeds of ponies, the Fell and Dales. Affected foals appear normal at birth, but become weak. and either die or must be euthanized by 3 months of age due to persistent infections caused by immunodeficiency. Though, obsolete form of foal. Though, simple past and past participle of foal. Those, plural of foal. Velvet. Holted. Velvet, plural of folvet. Foal, the state or time of being a foal. Foaling, present participle and gerund of foal. Foalings, plural of foaling. Foalish, of resembling or related to foals. Those, plural of foal. Though, a substance composed of a large collection of bubbles or their solidified remains. Especially. Foam at the mouth, to spew saliva as foam. Foam bath, synonym of bubble bath. Foam baths, plural of foam bath. Foam board, synonym of foam core. Foam cell, a type of macrophage that has become engorged with lipid material, particularly cholesterol. Foam cells, plural of foam cell. Foam core, alternative form of foam core. Foam finger, a large glove made of foam cut in the shape of and painted with the figure of a hand that usually has an outstretched index finger. Foam fingers, plural of foam finger. Foam hand, synonym of foam finger. Foam hands, plural of foam hand. Foam parties, plural of foam party. Foam party, a social event in which participants dance to music on a dance floor covered in several feet of suds or bubbles dispensed from a foam machine. Foam roller, a padded cylindrical device rolled against the body for massage or exercise. Foam rollers, plural of foam roller. Foam rubber, expanded latex. Foam rubbers, plural of foam rubber. Foam up, to become foamy, create a foam, to rise with a foamy surface or covered with something resembling foam. Foam flecked, rabid, furious, fanatical. Foamabilities, plural of foamability. Foamability, the quality or degree of being foamable. Foamable, capable of being converted into foam. Foam dye, backed with polyurethane foam. Foam board, a strong, lightweight material consisting of an inner layer of polystyrene clad with outer facing of either white clay-coated paper or brown craft paper. Foam boards, plural of foam board. Foam bow, a kind of rainbow or faubourg seen as sunlight passes through the airborne water droplets of a waterfall. Foam bows, plural of foam bow. Foam core, a lightweight material consisting of a board of polystyrene foam clad with an outer facing of paper on either side, typically white clay-coated paper or brown craft paper. Foam, simple past and past participle of foam. Foamed at the mouth. Simple past and past participle of foam at the mouth. Foamed up. Simple past and past participle of foam up. Foamer, an obsessive railfin. Foamers, plural of foamer. Foamus, second person singular simple present, indicative of foam. Foame, third person singular simple present indicative of foam. Foam flower, any of the genus Tyrella of wild flowers and garden plants in the saxifrage family. Foam flowers, plural of foam flower. Foamy, an inexpensive surfboard made of extruded polystyrene foam. Foamy, comparative form of foamy, more foamy. Foamies, plural of foamy. Foamiest, superlative form of foamy, most foamy. Foamy, in a foamy manner. Foaminess, the state or quality of being foamy. Foaming, present participle and gerund of foam. Foaming agent, any substance that will produce a foam under specified conditions. Foaming agents, plural of foaming agent. Foaming at the mouth, present participle and gerund of foam at the mouth. Foaming up, present participle and gerund of foam up. Foamingly, with foam. Foamings, plural of foaming. Foamite, alternative form of foamite. Foamous, without foam. Foamously, without foam. Foamike, resembling foam, foamy. Foams, plural of foam. Foams at the mouth. Third person singular simple present indicative of foam at the mouth. Foams up. Third person singular simple present indicative of foam up. Foamy, full of foam. Ford, a surname. Ford County, one of 254 counties in Texas, United States. County seat, Crowell. Fords, plural of Ford. Initialism of free on board. A little pocket near the waistline of a pair of trousers or in a waistcoat or vest to hold money or valuables. Especially a pocket watch. Paboff, to use lies, excuses, or deceit to satisfy someone, to deceitfully appease someone by giving something that is spurious or inferior from what was wanted or expected. Pob watch, an upside-down watch that a nurse pins on their lapel so as to be able to check the time while minimizing the risk of infection through contamination of a pocket device or a wristwatch. Pod, simple past and past participle of fob. Fobbed off, simple past and past participle of fob off. Fobbing, a village in Thurrock Borough, Essex, England. OS grid ref TQ 7184. Fobbing off, present participle and gerund of fob off. Faux bibes, alternative form of fobbit. Hobbit, alternative form of fobbit. Faux bibets, plural of faux bibet. Fobbis, plural of fobbit. Fobbit, a surname. Fobses, plural of fobs. Faux, bby, alternative letter case form of fobby. Foddy, having the characteristics of a FOB, a recent immigrant, not having assimilated into the local culture. Phobo, initialism of fear of bad outcomes. Pod, acronym of fractional orbit bombardment system. Thought, plural of FOB. Pod, plural of fob. Fobbed off, third person singular simple present indicative of fob off. Initialism of fixed odds betting terminal. Plural of fob. FOBLS, having the characteristics of an immigrant, but having mostly assimilated into the local culture. Free of charge. Foxa, alternative form of foxel forecastle. Foxel lamp, alternative form of foxel lamp. Foxel lamps, plural of foxel lamp. Foxels, plural of foxel. Vought, acronym of Formula 1 Constructors Association. Focaxia, a flatbread similar in style, composition, and texture to modern pizza doughs and topped with herbs, cheese, and other products. Focaxia typically consists of high gluten flour, oil, water, sugar, salt, and yeast. Focaxia bread, synonym of focaxia. Focaxia breads, plural of focaxia bread. Focaxias, plural of focaxia. Focal, belonging to, concerning, or located at a focus. Focal adhesion, an assembly of protein that mediates signaling. Focal adhesions, plural of focal adhesion. Focal depth, the depth below the Earth's surface of the hypocenter of an earthquake. Focal depths. Plural of focal depth. Focal length, a measure of how strongly an optical system converges or diverges light, the inverse of optical power. In the simple case of a single convex lens, it is the distance along the optical axis from the principal plane of the lens to the lens's focal point where, for instance, the film would be placed in a camera. For more complex or multi-element optical systems, focal length need not correspond to any obvious measurable physical distance. Focal lengths, plural of focal length. Focal plane, any plane perpendicular to the axis of a lens or mirror. Focal planes, plural of focal plane. Focal point, a focus, a point at which rays of light or other radiation converge. Focal points, plural of focal point. Focalization, alternative form of focalization. Focalizations, plural of focalization. Focalize, alternative spelling of focalize. Focalize, simple past and past participle of focalize. Focalizer, alternative spelling of focalizer. Focalizers, plural of focalizer. Focalizes, third person singular simple present indicative of focalize. Focalizing, present participle and gerund of focalize. Focalism, synonym of anchoring. Focalities, plural of focality. Focality, the quality of being focal. Focalization, the perspective through which a narrative is presented. Focalizations, plural of focalization. Focalize, to focus or to adjust a focus. Focalized, simple past and past participle of focalize. Focalizer, a character through which the story is told and whose perspective the story is told from. Focalizers, plural of focalizer. Focalizes, third person singular simple present indicative of focalize. Focalizing, present participle and gerund of focalize. Focoing, with respect to a focus. Focaloid, a shell bounded by two concentric, confocal ellipses in 2 dimensions or ellipsoids in 3 dimensions. Focaloids, plural of focaloid. Vocals, plural of vocal. Forecastle, alternative form of forecastle. Forecastles, plural of forecastle. Focacia, misspelling of focaxia. A surname from French. Fotabers, a village in Moray Council area, Scotland OS Grid Ref NJ 3458. Fox, plural of fock. But, a surname. Vice, plural of fought. Foci, plural of focus. Focimeter, a lens meter optician's instrument. Fosimeters. Plural of fosimeter. Fosimetry. The art or study of measuring the power of lenses. But a surname. Fock matrices. Plural of Fock matrix. Fock matrix. In the Hartree-Fock method of quantum mechanics, a matrix approximating the single electron energy operator of a given quantum system in a given set of basis vectors. Fock matrices. Plural of Fock matrix. Fock space. An algebraic system used in quantum mechanics to describe quantum states with a variable or unknown number of particles. Fock spaces. Plural of Fock space. Fock state. Any state of the Fock space with a well-defined number of particles in each state. Fock states. Plural of Fock state. Fock. Simple past and past participle of Fock. Fockery. A village in Garthorpe and Fockerby Parish, North Lincolnshire District, Lincolnshire, England. OS Grid Ref FSC 8419. Fotten. Pronunciation spelling of fucking. Focking. Present participle of Fock. Fockor. A surname. Fockor. Plural of Fockler. Focus. Plural of Fock. Focometer. Alternative form of fosimeter. Focometers. Plural of focometer. Plural of FOC. Foxani. A city in Vrancia County, Romania. Foxhole. Alternative spelling of foxhole. Foxholes. Plural of foxhole. Falcon. A point at which reflected or refracted rays of light converge. Focus group. A group of people, sampled from a larger population, interviewed in open session for market research or political analysis. Focus groups. Plural of focus group. Focus puller. A member of a film crew whose primary responsibility is to maintain the camera lens optical focus on whatever subject or action is being filmed. Focus pullers. Plural of focus puller. Focus group. Alternative spelling of focus group. Focus grouped. Simple past and past participle of focus group. Focus grouping. Present participle and gerund of focus group. Focus groups. Plural of focus group. Alternative spelling of focus groups. Focusability. The ability to be focused. Focusable. Capable of being focused. Focus. Directing all one's efforts towards achieving a particular goal. Focus deterrence. A crime prevention strategy which aims to deter crime by implementing a mix of law enforcement, social services, and community mobilization. Focusedness. The state, quality, or condition of being focused. Focuser. A device which allows one to adjust the focus of an instrument such as a telescope. Focusers. Plural of focuser. Focuses. Plural of focus. Focusing. Used for or pertaining to focusing. Focusing cloth. A cloth thrown over a camera and the operator's head and shoulders to exclude all light except that which comes through the lens. Focusing cloths. Plural of focusing cloth. Focusing screen. A flat translucent material found in a system camera that allows the photographer to preview the framed image in a viewfinder. Focusing screens. Plural of focusing screen. Focusings. Plural of focusing. Focusless. Lacking focus. Focuslessness. Absence of focus. Focusable. Alternative form of focusable. Focus. Uncommon spelling of focused. Focuser. Alternative form of focuser. Focusers. Plural of focuser. Focuses. Third person singular simple present indicative of focus. Focusing. Alternative form of focusing. Focusing cloth. Alternative form of focusing cloth. Focusing cloths. Plural of focusing cloth. Not. Initialism of foreign object debris. I. Forehead, particularly a large one. Fodder. Food for animals, that which is fed to cattle, horses, and sheep, such as hay, corn stalks, vegetables, etc. Fodder melon. Synonym of citron melon. Fodder melons. Plural of fodder melon. Fodder radish. The dakin, particularly when grown for animal fodder rather than for human consumption. Fodder radishes. Plural of fodder radish. Fodder. Simple past and past participle of fodder. Fodderer. One who fodders cattle. Fodderers. Plural of fodderer. Foddering. Present participle and gerund of fodder. Fodderings. Plural of foddering. Fodderless. Without fodder. Fodders. Plural of fodder. Foddity. A hamlet near Dingwall, Ross and Cromarty, Highland Council area, Scotland OS Grid Ref NH 5159. Foden. A surname. Fodens. Plural of Foden. Fodent. Fitted for, or relating to, digging or burrowing. Fodiants. Plural of fodiant. Fodies. Plural of fodi. Fodinishnia. Plural of fodinishnian. Fodinishnio. Relating to a fodinishnian. Fodinishnian. A trace fossil formed by deposit feeders as they excavate the sediment in search of food. Podnap. Acronym of fermentable oligosaccharide S, disaccharide S, monosaccharide S, and polyol S. Podnap. Plural of fodnap. Foderian. Of war relating to Jerry Fodor, American philosopher and cognitive scientist. Fodder. Any of a group of spectres that bind actin. Fodderans. Plural of fodderin. Odds. Plural of phi. Fodi. Any of various small passerine birds of the genus Faudia in the weaver family Plosidae. The initialism of friends of the earth. Foi. Initialism of friends of the earth. A surname from German. Fode. A very large wooden vat in which beer is lagered. Foderati. Plural of foderatus. Foderatus. A confederate, one of the tribes bound by treaty, who were neither Roman colonies nor had they been granted Roman citizenship, but were expected to provide a contingent of fighting men when trouble arose. Foders. Plural of foder. Fodo. The state or condition of being an enemy, enmity, hostility. Foedus Pacificum. A theoretical global league of republics that would produce world peace. Audi. A gimmick. Fofi slide. A zipline. Fofi slides. Plural of fofi slide. Fothis. Plural of fofi. Fovet. A warm, dry wind blowing down the north sides of the Alps, especially in Switzerland. Foen-like, resembling or characteristic of a foen type of wind. Foens, plural of foen. Foe, the state of being a foe. Enmity. Thoughtless, having no foe. Foei, of, like, or characteristic of a foe or enemy. Adversario. Tho, a surname from German. Those, plural of foe. Foeman, an enemy. A foe in battle, an armed or unarmed adversary, a demon. Foemanship. Enmity. Foeman, plural of foeman. Phone, alternative spelling of phone. Phoneculin, a flavonoid found in fennel. Phone Greek, archaic. Form of fenugreek. Phelons, plural of phone. Phonumasi, an anti-inflammatory compound present in Lysimachia phonum Greecum. Phonumosides, plural of phonumasi. Forester, a surname. Foresters, plural of forester. Forge, a surname from German. Forges, plural of forge. Buzz, plural of foe. Fohit, condition of possessing any enemies. Fetal, alternative spelling of fetal. Fetal alcohol syndrome, alternative spelling of fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndromes, plural of fetal alcohol syndrome. Fatalism, alternative form of fetalism. Fetalization, the persistence of fetal characteristics in an adult. Fetally, alternative form of fetally. Fetation, alternative form of fetation. Fetations, plural of fetation. Plural of fetus. Feticidal, alternative form of feticidal. Feticide, alternative form of feticide. Feticides, plural of feticide. Alternative spelling of fetid. Fetid juniper. The tree juniper is fetidissima. Fetidness, the quality of being fetid. Fetiparous, alternative form of fetiparous. Theta, alternative form of feto. Theta-fetal, alternative spelling of fetophil. Fetology, alternative spelling of fetology. Fetomatermo, alternative form of fetomaternal. Fetometry, alternative form of fetometry. Fetopathies, plural of fetopathy. Fetopathy, alternative spelling of fetopathy. Fetopelvic, alternative form of fetopelvic. Fetophagy, the eating of an aborted fetus by some monkeys. Fetoplacental, alternative spelling of fetoplacental. Fetoprotein, alternative spelling of fetoprotein. Fetoproteins, plural of fetoprotein. Fetor, alternative spelling of feeder. Feters, plural of feeder. Fetoscope, alternative spelling of fetoscope. Fetoscopes, plural of fetoscope. Pletoscopic, alternative form of fetoscopic. Pletoscopically, alternative form of fetoscopically. Fetoscopies, plural of fetoscopy. Fetoscopy, alternative form of fetoscopy. Phytotoxic. Alternative spelling of phytotoxic. Fetus. Alternative spelling of fetus. Fetus in fetu. Alternative spelling of fetus in fetu. Fetuses. Plural of fetus. Fetuses in fetu. Plural of fetus in fetu. Fofana. A surname. Fovanas. Plural of fofana. Fafara. Alternative form of fufara. Fafaras. Plural of fafara. Thought. Initialism of fat, oil, and grease. Thought. A thick cloud that forms near the ground. The obscurity of such a cloud. Fog, a mirror. Used other than figuratively or idiomatically. See fog, a mirror. Fog bank. Alternative form of fog bank. Fog banks. Plural of fog bank. Fog bell. A bell used in fog and poor visibility. Fog bells. Plural of fog bell. Fog bow. Alternative spelling of fog bow. Fog bows. Plural of fog bow. Fog collection. The collection of water from fog, using a canvas to pick up the water particles. Fog collections. Plural of fog collection. Fog collector. A canvas or any other device used to collect water particles from fog. Fog collectors. Plural of fog collector. Fog fluid. The liquid pumped through a fogger to generate the artificial fog. Fog forests. Cloud forests. Fog forests. Plural of fog forests. Fog fruit. Alternative spelling of fog fruit. Fog fruits. Plural of fog fruit. Fog horn. Alternative form of foghorn. Fog horns. Plural of fog horn. Fog juice. Fog fluid. Fog lamp. A bright red lamp, normally one of a pair at the rear of a motor car that can be switched on during foggy weather so as to avoid collisions from cars approaching from behind. Fog lamps. Plural of fog lamp. Fog light. One of a pair of lights mounted at the front of a car, below the headlights, usually white or yellow in color, for increased visibility ahead in foggy driving conditions. Fog lights. Plural of fog light. Fog line. The boundary of a body of air contacting the Earth's surface that has fallen below the dew point and usually contains fog. Fog lines. Plural of fog line. Fog machine. Synonym of fogger device that generates artificial fog. Fog machines. Plural of fog machine. Fog of war. The uncertainty in situational awareness experienced by participants in military operations. Fog oil. Petroleum-based oil specially blended to produce a dense, efficient, screening smoke when vaporized and recondensed at atmospheric temperatures. Officially, fog oil is standard grade fuel number 2 SGF2. Fog oils. Plural of fog oil. Fog out. To become distracted or foggy, to daydream. Fog signal. A small explosive charge detonator which can be placed on a railway line in fog to be detonated by a train passing over it as a warning signal to the driver. Fog signals. Plural of fog signal. Fog tsunami. A type of advection fog formed when condensation from warm air merges with cool sea water, alleviating the effect of a quick-moving blanket of clouds. Fog tsunamis, plural of fogged tsunami. Fog up, to coat or become coated with condensation, to steam up. Fog fruit, alternative spelling of fog fruit. Fog fruits, plural of fog fruit. Foghorn, alternative form of foghorn. Foghorns, plural of foghorn. Fogge, synonym of fawn. Fogarty, a surname from Irish. Fogarties, plural of fogarty. Fodes, a Hungarian food fish similar to pike or zander. Fodesh, alternative form of fogas the fish. Fogbank, a bank of fog. Fogbanks, plural of fogbank. Fogbound, enveloped in fog to such an extent that movement is dangerous or impossible. Fogbow, a white arc or circle similar to a rainbow, which can appear in the sky in foggy conditions as sunlight passes through small airborne water droplets. Fogbows, plural of fogbow. Fog-eye, a ray of light seen amidst fog. Fog-dogs, plural of fog-dog. Fog-dam, a state of obscurity, confusion, absence of clarity. Fog-dow, a surname. Fogelman, a surname. Fogelmans, plural of Fogelman. Fodels, plural of Fogel. Fogerty, a surname from Irish. Fogerties, plural of Fogerty. Foges, plural of Foge. Fode, a dull person, especially an old man who is behind the times, holding antiquated, over-conservative views. Fogiedom, the state of being a fogi. Fogihot, the state or condition of being a fogi. Fotish, characteristic of or resembling an old fogi, outdated or out of touch. Fogishly, in a fogish manner. Fogishness, the quality of being fogish. Fogism, alternative form of fogism. Fogisms, plural of fogism. Fogies, plural of fogi. Hotfall, the act or time of a cloud of fog falling over an area. Fog falls, plural of fog. Fall. Fogfruit, any of various plants of the genus Phyla in the Verbena family Verbenaceae. Fogfruits, plural of fogfruit. Thought, a surname. Fogat all, able to be fogged. Fogish, dead or decaying grass remaining on land through the winter. Fodish, simple past and past participle of foggage. Fogages, plural of foggage. Fogging, present participle and gerund of foggage. Fogara, an underground conduit between vertical shafts that leads water from the interior of a hill to villages in the valley. A cant. Fogaras, plural of Fogara. Fodefor, a village and civil parish in the East Riding of Yorkshire, England. OS Grid Ref SC 7537. Thought, a surname. Fog, simple past and past participle of fog. Fogged a mirror, simple past and past participle of fog a mirror. Fogged out, in a confused and unaware mental state. Fogged up, simple past and past participle of fog up. Fodder, the outlet at the end of a hose which is designed to atomize, spray, or mist the contents flowing through the hose. Typical use includes gaseous materials such as nitrous oxide in automotive applications, as well as fuels for turbine engines. Fodders, plural of fodder. Foddis, plural of fog. Forget about it. Pronunciation spelling of forget about it. Fode, a province of Apulia, Italy. Fodi, a surname. Fode, comparative form of foggy, more foggy. Fodes, plural of foggy. Faiz, superlative form of foggy, most foggy. Foddily, in a foggy manner. Foddiness, the characteristic or quality of being foggy. Fognesses, plural of fogginess. Fogging, present participle and gerund of fog. Fogging a mirror, present participle and gerund of fog a mirror. Fogging out, present participle and gerund of fog out. Fogging up, present participle and gerund of fog up. Fogging, plural of fogging. Foggish, synonym of foggy, obscured by mist or fog, unclear, hazy. Phi, an orthorhombic bisphenol mineral containing aluminum, calcium, hydrogen, oxygen, and phosphorus. Fodi, obscured by mist or fog, unclear, hazy. Body Bottom, a neighborhood of Washington, D.C., United States. Foghorn, a very loud low-pitched horn used especially in lighthouses and on large boats. Foghorned, simple past and past participle of foghorn. Foghorning, present participle and gerund of foghorn. Foghorns, plural of foghorn. Fodi, alternative spelling of fogy. Fogies, plural of fogy. Fob lamp, a wide automotive lamp intended to increase visibility in poor weather conditions. Fog lamps, plural of fog lamp. Fodo, a surname. Fogelman, a surname. Fogelmans, plural of Fogelman. Fowler, a surname from German. Foblers, plural of Fobler. Fognols, plural of Fogel. Fogel song, a surname. Fogel songs, plural of Fogel song. Fobless, free of fog. Foglessness, absence of fog. Fogby, a single nanobot in a utility fog. Foglets, plural of foglet. Fog-eye, alternative form of fog light. Fog-lights, plural of fog light. Fog-eye, resembling a fog or some aspect of it. Fog-eye, alternative form of fog line. Fog lines, plural of fog line. Fogleo, a surname from Italian. Fogleos, plural of fogleo. Fogman, a railwayman who placed fog signals detonators on the track at distance signals during thick fogs and falling snow to warn train drivers. Fogman, plural of fogman. Fogo, a community in Fogo Island, Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. Fogo Island, a town in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. Phobos, plural of Fogo. Foto, a Cornish Saudi rain, an underground, dry stone-walled chamber open on two ends. Fotis, plural of phagu. Photoponic, of or relating to photoponics. Photoponics, aeroponics combined with the nutrient solution aerosolized by a diaphragm vibrating at ultrasonic frequencies. Foggroove, resistant to fogging up. Fogram, a fogy, a person with old-fashioned views. Fograms, plural of fogram. Fogram, alternative form of fogram. Fograms, plural of fogram. Fogs, plural of fog. Fogs a mirror, third person singular simple present indicative of fog, a mirror. Fogs of war. Plural of fog of war. Fogs out, third person singular simple present indicative of fog out. Fogs up, third person singular simple present indicative of fog up. Fogscape, a foggy landscape. Fogscapes, plural of fogscape. Fot, a surname. Fotis, plural of fogt. Foves, tobacco. Fovit, alternative spelling of fogy. Fogium, alternative form of fogydom. Fidich, characteristic of a fogey. Fogeza, the behavior, beliefs, or principles of a fogey. Fogasms, plural of phobiism. Initialism of Formula One holdings. An exclamation of abhorrence or contempt. Fohawk, alternative spelling of foxhawk. Fohawks, plural of Fohawk. Initialism of fuel oil heat exchanger, a heat exchanger that uses hot oil to heat fuel, used to prevent sensitive fuel line components from freezing or being clogged with ice. Fo, plural of foe. Fovi, alternative form of fahi. Taoism, Chinese Buddhism. Fohes, a Chinese Buddhist follower of Chinese Buddhism. Fohests, plural of fohes. Hub, alternative spelling of phone. Fer, alternative spelling of phone. Phones, plural of phone. Fervens, plural of fern. Ferder, one of the North Frisian islands located in the North Sea in the state of Schleswig-Holstein, Germany. Initialism of fruit of Islam. A trans-New Guinean language spoken in Papua New Guinea. Acronym of Freedom of Information Act. FOI, simple past and past participle of FOIA. FOIAng, present participle and gerund of FOIA. Third person singular simple present indicative of FOIA. A deep sinkhole typical of karst regions and particularly Istria. 5s, plural of foiba. Vital, a quirk, idiosyncrasy, frailty, or mannerism, an unusual habit that is slightly strange or silly. Vital, having a foible or foibles, eccentric or fallible. Vitals, plural of foible. Foot, clipping of felspathoid. Vital, felspathoidal. Foidite, the volcanic equivalent of foidolite. The light-colored minerals are mostly feldspathoids. Foidite, of or pertaining to foidite. Foidolite, a coarse-grained, intrusive igneous rock where most light-colored minerals are feldspathoids. Foidolites, plural of foidolite. Foidolytic, of or pertaining to foidolite. Foids, plural of foid. Foot, ellipsis of foie gras. Foie gras, the fat and liver of geese or ducks, used for gourmet cooking. Foini, a village in the Safma region in what is now Romania, settled by Safra Swabians and sometimes called Finan as in German. Foies gras, plural of foie gras. Fa, an acronym for the algorithm for multiplying two binomials. Fa, a very thin sheet of metal. Foil stone, an imitation gemstone. Foil stones, plural of foil stone. Foilotl, capable of being foiled. Foliage, obsolete or non-standard form of foliage. Foilages, plural of foliage. Foilboard, a surfboard with a hydrofoil that extends below the board into the water, causing the board to leave the surface of the water at various speeds. Foilboarding, simple past and past participle of foilboard. Foilboarding, present participle and gerund of foilboard. Foilboards, plural of foilboard. Foiled, simple past and past participle of foil. Foiled, simple past and past participle of foil. Foiler, one who foils or frustrates. Foilers, plural of foiler. Foils, a surname. Foilaces, plural of foils. Foilus, second person singular simple present indicative of foil. Foil, third person singular simple present indicative of foil. Foiling, present participle and gerund of foil. Foiling, present participle and gerund of foil. Foilings, plural of foiling. Foiless, a fencer who fights with a foil. Foilists, plural of foilist. Foil, third person singular simple present indicative of foil. Foils, plural of foil. Foilsman, a person who fights with a foil or thin sword. Foilsman, plural of foilsman. Foy, a thrust. Foin, pronunciation spelling of fine. Foy, pronunciation spelling of fine. Foid, simple past and past participle of foin. Foinery, thrusting with the foil, fencing with the point of the sword, as distinguished from broadsword play. Fighting, present participle and gerund of foin. Foins, third person singular simple present indicative of foin. Faoism, Chinese Buddhism. Faism, an abundance, a rich supply of. Physemas, alternative form of physemas. Phisens, plural of foisen. Vis, to introduce or insert surreptitiously or without warrant. Foistoff, to fraudulently or disingenuously pass goods or ideas onto. Foisted, simple past and past participle of foist. Foisted off, simple past and past participle of foist off. Foister, one who foists, a falsifier. Foisters, plural of foister. Foistat, third person singular simple present indicative of foist. Foistiness, moldiness, mustiness. Foiste, present participle and gerundive voice. Foisting off, present participle and gerundive voice off. Foistings, plural of foisting. Vice, third person singular simple present indicative of voice. Foist soft, third person singular simple present indicative of foist off. Foistware, software that is installed without the user's knowledge or consent, often bundled with another product. Foisty, moldy, musty, fusty. Foy, a surname. Foyes, plural of foisy. Put, initialism of flash of invisible text. Floodite, a trigonal to trigonal pyramidal bluish-black mineral composed of a basic, hydrated aluminate borate silicate of iron and sodium. Foidites, plural of foitite. Foitide, relating to or composed of foitite. Foy, a commune, the capital of Ariège Department, Occitania, France. Foie-Lajoinine syndrome, a disease caused by an arteriovenous malformation of the spinal cord. Foix-Chavigny-Marie syndrome, a partial paralysis of the face, pharynx, and jaw caused by bilateral damage to the operculum. Foidon, alternative form of foison. Foidons, plural of foison. Fajde, a surname from Czech. Fajdiks, plural of fajdik. But, initialism of fill or kill. But, a surname. Vodi, staff, waiter. Fokin, alternative form of Fujian. Fokies, plural of foki. Fokker, a surname from Dutch. Foggers, plural of Fokker. Fokanalana, a decision-making community within a geographical territory. Fokanalanas, plural of Fokanalona. Focontanes, plural of Focontani. Focontani, a ruidi, but plural of FOK. Latis, plural of Fok. The initialism of first-order logic. Haldera, alternative form of folderol. Falderals, plural of falderal. Faldera, nonsense word traditional to English ballads and madrigals. Falderals, plural of faldera. Cup, abbreviation of folio. Falacenin, folic acid. Falacens, plural of falacin. Fala, a surname. Folan, a surname. Folens, plural of Folan. Folan, plural of Fallen. Fowlar, initialism of Friends of the Los Angeles River. Fola, a traditional Portuguese bread served at Passover and Easter. Folate, a salt or ester of folic acid, especially one present in the vitamin B complex. Folates, plural of folate. Fol, a surname. Folboat, alternative spelling of foldboat. Folboats, plural of fallboat. Faldot, alternative spelling of foldboat. Falbots, plural of fallbot. Falbs, plural of falb. Fawelsi, a fan of the television series Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Fold. To bend anything in material, such as paper over so that it comes in contact with itself. Fold and thrust belt. A series of mountainous foothills adjacent to an orogenic belt, which forms due to contractional tectonics. Fold and thrust belts. Plural of fold and thrust belt. Fold away. To put away by folding. To collapse something into a space where it can be stored while not in use. Fold boat. Alternative spelling of fold boat. Fold boats. Plural of fold boat. Fold down. To down mix. Fold equities. Plural of fold equity. Fold equity. The portion of the pot one expects to win, on average, by a bet that induces opponents to fold rather than by seeing the showdown. Fold flat. A fold mirror that is a flat, i.e. a plain mirror. Fold flats. Plural of fold flat. Fold like a cheap suit. To give up easily. Capitulate. Fold like a cheap suitcase. Synonym of fold like a cheap suit. Fold like a cheap tent. Synonym of fold like a cheap suit. Fold like a long chair. Synonym of fold like a cheap suit. Fold mirror. And mirror used to bend an optical path so that it can be made longer than the physical size of the system. Fold mountain. A mountain created when two tectonic plates collide into each other. Fold net. A kind of net set up on the ground used to catch birds, rabbits, etc. Fold net. Plural of fold net. Fold one's arms. Synonym of cross one's arms. Fold one's tent. To withdraw, especially in a discreet manner. To disengage. To quit. Fold out. To depart. Folds. There. A fold mirror that is a sphere, i.e. a spherical mirror. Fold up. To make or become more compact by folding. Fold out. Alternative form of fold out. Fold out. Plural of fold out. Fold over. Alternative form of fold over. Fold overs. Plural of fold over. Fold up. Able to be folded up, especially easy to fold up. Fold ups. Plural of fold up. Foldabilities. Plural of foldability. Foldability. The state or condition of being foldable. Foldable. That can be folded. Foldable rooftop. Synonym of soft top. Foldable rooftops. Plural of foldable rooftop. Foldables. Plural of foldable. Foldably. In a foldable way. Folded. Alternative form of folded. Foldamer. A relatively small molecule that adopts a folded structure similar to that of a protein or other biological macromolecule. Foldameric. Relating to or characteristic of a foldamer. Foldamers. Plural of foldamer. Foldase. An enzyme that catalyzes protein folding. Foldases. Plural of foldase. Fold away. That may be folded away when not in use. Foldaways. Plural of fold away. Fold back. An overturned flap. Fold back clip. Synonym of binder clip. Fold backs. Plural of fold back. Fold boat. A type of collapsible canoe. Fold boated. Simple past and past participle of fold boat. Fold boater. Someone who paddles in a fold boat. Fold boaters, plural of fold boater. Fold boating, present participle and gerund of fold boat. Fold boats, plural of fold boat. Fold change, a measurement of change in value, expressed as a ratio so that, for example, a value changing from 30 to 60 represents a fold change of 2. Fold changes, plural of fold change. Folda, alternative form of folderol. Foldas, plural of foldjaw. Folded, simple past and past participle of fold. Folded away, simple past and past participle of fold away. Folded down, simple past and past participle of fold down. Folded like a cheap suit, simple past and past participle of fold like a cheap suit. Folded like a cheap suitcase, simple past and past participle of fold like a cheap suitcase. Folded like a cheap tent, simple past and past participle of fold like a cheap tent. Folded like a lawn chair, simple past and past participle of fold like a lawn chair. Folded mountain, synonym of fold mountain. Folded mountains, plural of folded mountain. Folded one's arms, simple past and past participle of fold one's arms. Folded one's tent, simple past and past participle of fold one's tent. Folded optics, an optical system in which prisms and slash or mirrors are used to reduce the overall physical length of the system. Folded out, simple past and past participle of fold out. Folded up, simple past and past participle of fold up. Folded up, alternative spelling of folded up. Foldedness, the state or condition of being folded. Folden, a surname. Foldens, plural of folden. Folder, an organizer that papers are kept in, usually with an index tab, to be stored as a single unit in a filing cabinet. Folderol, alternative spelling of folderol. Folderful, all of the documents, papers, notes, etc. that are contained in a folder. Folderfuls, plural of folderful. Folderless, without folders. Folder-like, resembling or characteristic of a folder directory on disk. Folderol, nonsense or foolishness. Folderols, plural of folderol. Folders, plural of folder. Foldersful, plural of folderful. Foldus, second person singular simple present indicative of fold. Folda, third person singular simple present indicative of fold. Foldex, a cat of a breed developed in Quebec, having a medium-sized body with a rounded face, short legs, and characteristic folded ears. Foldexes, plural of foldex. Folde, a folding bicycle. Folde, designed to fold. Folding away, present participle and gerund to fold away. Folding bone, synonym of bone folder. Folding bones, plural of folding bone. Folding chair, a light portable chair that can be stored in a stack, row, or on a specially designed cart. They are produced in a variety of styles, folding mechanisms, and materials. Folding chairs, plural of folding chair. Folding down, present participle and gerund to fold down. Folding knife, A kind of knife whose blade or blades can be folded inside the handle, owing to a joint. Such a knife is usually a pocket knife. Its action may be locking or non-locking. Folding knives. Plural of folding knife. Folding like a cheap suit. Present participle of fold like a cheap suit. Folding like a cheap suitcase. Present participle of fold like a cheap suitcase. Folding like a cheap tent. Present participle of fold like a cheap tent. Folding like a lawn chair. Present participle of fold like a lawn chair. Folding money. Paper currency, cash in the form of printed banknotes. Folding one's arms. Present participle and gerund to fold one's arms. Folding one's tent. Present participle and gerund to fold one's tent. Folding out. Present participle and gerund to fold out. Folding rooftop. Synonym of soft top. Folding rooftops. Plural of folding rooftop. Folding screen. A piece of furniture consisting of two or more frames connected by hinges. Folding screens. Plural of folding screen. Folding stick. Synonym of bone folder. Folding sticks. Plural of folding stick. Folding stuff. Banknotes, paper money. Folding up. Present participle and gerund to fold up. Folding bone. Synonym of bone folder. Folding bones. Plural of folding bone. Folding stick. Synonym of bone folder. Folding sticks. Plural of folding stick. Foldings. Plural of folding. Folding stick. Synonym of bone folder. Folding sticks. Plural of folding stick. Foldless. Without folds. Foldoc. Acronym of Free Online Dictionary of Computing. Foldome. The totality of folded structures of proteins. Foldomes. Plural of foldome. Foldin. A part of a protein that folds and unfolds as a unit. Foldins. Plural of foldin. Foldopathies. Plural of foldopathy. Foldopathy. Any disease associated with protein misfolding. Foldosome. An organelle responsible for protein folding. Foldosomes. Plural of foldosome. Foldout. An overlarge page that is folded into a book or magazine. Foldout. Plural of fold out. Fold over. Having one component that folds over the top of another. Fold over clip. Synonym of binder clip. Foldovers. Plural of fold over. Those. Plural of fold. Folds away. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold away. Fold is down. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold down. Folds like a cheap suit. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold like a cheap suit. Folds like a cheap suitcase. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold like a cheap suitcase. Folds like a cheap tent. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold like a cheap tent. Folds like a lawn chair. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold like a lawn chair. Folds one's arms. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold one's arms. folds one's tent. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold one's tent. Folds out. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold out. Folds up. Third person singular simple present indicative of fold up. Foldscope. A microscope or similar optical instrument made by origami-like folding of a single piece of card plus one or more lenses. Foldscopes. Plural of foldscope. Foldstool. A folding stool or collapsible seat. Foldstools. Plural of foldstool. Fold up. Alternative form of fold up. Fold-ups. Plural of fold up. Foldwood. Toward a sheepfold. Foldwoods. Towards a sheepfold. Foldlay. A plant of the genus Dicliptera. Foldy. Having or characterized by folds. Foldy-Walthysen transformation. A unitary transformation of the orthonormal basis in which both the Hamiltonian and the state are represented. It has applications in high-energy physics. Foldy-Walthysen transformations. Plural of Foldy-Walthysen transformation. Foldyard. An enclosure for sheep or cattle. Foldyards. Plural of foldyard. Obsolete spelling of fol. Folgandros. A small Greek island in the Aegean Sea, part of the Cyclades. Those. Plural of fol. Folso. A suburb of Coventry, West Midlands, England. OS Grid Ref SB 3582. Foe. A surname from Irish. Foliatus. A person who creates sound effects and adds them to film and TV images. Foliatists. Plural of foliatists. Foley catheter. A catheter that is held in the bladder by an inflatable balloon. Foley catheters. Plural of Foley catheter. Foley Park. A small suburb of Maidstone, Kent, England. OS Grid Ref TQ 7656. Foley session. A session in which sound effects are added to a film or TV scene. Foley sessions. Plural of Foley session. Foleys. Plural of Foley. Synonym of disc golf. Falf. Simple past and past participle of fall. Falver. One who plays falf. Falvers. Plural of falver. Falfe. Present participle of falf. Falfox. A combination chemotherapy regimen consisting of the drugs folinic acid leucovorin FOL, fluoresyl 5FU, F, and oxaliplatin OX. Falfs. Third person singular simple present indicative of falf. Falfskis. Plural of falfsky. Falfsky. A fursona or furry character that is a hybrid between a fox, wolf, and a husky. Foveria. A town in Trentino, also Adige, Italy. Foser. A surname. Folgersus. Fan fiction parodying the 2009 Folgers advertisements Coming Home, which inadvertently gave many viewers the impression of incestuous attraction between the brother and sister depicted. Folgerite. Synonym of pentlandite. Folgercyst. Alternative form of Folgercyst. Fol. Initialism of Friends of Lansing's historical cemeteries. Foet. Plural of folium. Foliaceous. Resembling a leaf or leaves. Foliaciousness. the quality of being fallacious. Foliacrum, a particular carotenoid. Foliage, the leaves of plants. Foliate leaf, an unspecialized leaf composed of a flat lamina and often a petiole, which is the primary seat of photosynthesis and transpiration in plants that have them. Foliated leaves, plural of foliage leaf. Foliated gleaner, an individual of various species of the genera Automolus and Clibnornis, perching birds of the New World. Foliated gleaners, plural of foliage gleaner. Foliated, having foliage or in compounds a defined type of foliage. Foliate-like, resembling or characteristic of foliage. Foliates, resembling foliage. Foliates, plural of foliage. Foliar, foliar. Foliar, of pertaining to or via the leaves. Foliar trace, synonym of leaf trace. Foliar traces, plural of foliar trace. Foliole, in a foliar manner. Folia, of or relating to leaves. Foliate curve, folium. Foliate curves, plural of foliate curve. Foliate, having a structure of thin layers. Foliately, in a foliate manner. Folates, third person singular simple present indicative of foliate. Foliating, present participle and gerund of foliate. Foliation, the process of forming into a leaf or leaves. Foliations, plural of foliation. Foliage, weavage. Folic, of or relating to foliage, pteroid glutamic. As in folic acid. Folic acid, a polycyclic heterocyclic carboxylic acid, one of the vitamin B complex, essential for cell growth and reproduction. Folliculus, alternative form of folliculus. Folliculogenesis, misspelling of folliculogenesis. Foliatu, a situation in which two people behave abnormally together in a way that neither of them would on their own. Folia-family, delusional beliefs shared by multiple, if not all, members of a family. Folia-toi, a form of shared psychotic disorder in which three individuals have the same or similar delusional beliefs, usually by transference. Folie de grandeur, delusion of grandeur. Folie du doubt, pathological doubting about all affairs of life and indecisiveness in choice situations. Folie, misspelling of foliar relating to leaves. Folies adieu, plural of folie adieu. Folies de grandeur, plural of folie de grandeur. Foliferous, producing leaves. Foliform, leaf shape. Foliculus, growing or living on leaves. Foliferous, alternative form of foliferous. Foifime, alternative form of foliform. Folamycin, synonym of concanomycin. Folinate, the conjugate base or any salt or ester of folinic acid. Folinates, plural of folinate. Folinirin, a particular steroid glycoside. Folinic, derived from a folic compound. Folinic acid, a particular drug used in chemotherapy for cancer. Folano, a surname from Italian. Folanos, plural of folano. Folio, a leaf of a book or manuscript. Folio posts, a flat sheet of writing paper, usually 17 by 24 inches. Folio posts, plural of folio posts. Folia, simple past and past participle of folio. Foliae, present participle and gerund of folio. Foliale, of or relating to a folio. Foliale, of or pertaining to leaflets of a plant. Foliole, one of the distinct parts of a compound leaf, a leaflet. Folioles, plural of foliole. Foliologist, an expert on where and when to view the way tree leaves change color during the fall season. Foliologists, plural of foliologists. Foliales, hang foliales. Foliamort, obsolete spelling of fulamort. Foliaphage, an organism that feeds on leaves, a folivore. Foliaphages, plural of foliaphage. Foliaphagus, feeding on leaves. Foliaphagy, the eating of leaves. Folias, plural of folio. Folios, leafy or leaf-like. Folios, in a foliose manner. Foliosity, the ponderousness or bulk of a folio, voluminousness. Folit, part of the verge escapement in early clocks. Follets, plural of foliet. Folius, like a leaf, thin, insubstantial. Polyphagus, that eats foliage. Follisol, a kind of organosol mainly containing thick deposits of forest litter overlying bedrock or unconsolidated material. Olisolec, of or relating to follisols. Follisols, plural of follisol. Follis, a histosol that is not saturated with water for long periods of time during the year. Polistic, describing an epipedon that is normally saturated for less than 30 days per year and is more than 15-20 cm thick. Phallus, plural of phallus. Folium, aolith. Folium of Descartes, an algebraic curve defined by the implicit equation x3 plus y3 3-axis equals 0. Folium N, a particular steroid glycoside. Foliums, plural of folium. Folivore, a herbivore that eats mostly foliage. Folivores, plural of folivore. Folivorous, eating leaves. Folivory, the eating of leaves, especially as a major part of the diet of a particular species of animal, such animals being called folivores. A surname. Folk art. Crafts, traditions, and values of various social groups. Folk arts, plural of folk art. Folk blues. Alternative form of folk blues. Folk culture, the artistic entertainment and material artifacts of a society's peasantry and / or least learned members, usually involving small-scale household production representative of a unique local community without regard to a wider vernacular. Folk dance, any dance traditionally performed by the common people of a specific region. Folk dancer, a person who takes part in folk dancing. Folk dancers, plural of folk dancer. Folk dances, plural of folk dance. Folk dancing, the activity of taking part in folk dances. Folk devil, a person or type of person blamed by the public for various ills, as during a moral panic. Folk devils, plural of folk devil. Folk etymologies, plural of folk etymology. Folk etymologist, one who produces folk etymology. Folk etymologists, plural of folk etymologists. Folk etymologize, alternative form of folk etymologize. Folk etymologize, simple past and past participle of folk etymologize. Folk etymologizes, third person singular simple present indicative of folk etymologize. Folk etymologizing, present participle and gerund of folk etymologize. Folk etymology, a misunderstanding of the etymology of a word based on an inexpert analysis, an etymology that incorrectly explains the origin of a word based on the inadequate judgment of a common speaker of the language instead of etymological expertise. Folk hero, a real or mythical person who is widely revered by ordinary people for championing their interests, values, or aspirations. Folk heroes, plural of folk hero. Folk horror, a subgenre of horror fiction that uses elements of folklore, such as a rural setting, isolation, and themes of superstition or paganism such as human sacrifice. Folk house, a house of the style that is predominant in the particular time and place referred to, an average house, an ordinary house. Folk houses, plural of folk house. Folk illness, a combination of psychiatric and somatic symptoms that are considered to be a recognizable disease only within a specific society or culture. Folk illnesses, plural of folk illness. Folk linguistics, beliefs held by speakers about their language or language more generally, the study of these beliefs. Folk medicine, traditional medical practices developed and used by non-physicians, typically involving customary homespun techniques and medicinal remedies derived from native plants. Folk medicines, plural of folk medicine. Folk memories, plural of folk memory. Folk memory, the collective lore, beliefs, and traditional stories which help to define a society, culture, or nation. Folk metal, alternative spelling of folk metal. Folk music, any genre of music originating from the ethnic community of a specific region, often passed down through oral tradition without recorded songwriters and possessing a clear purpose or social function. Folk musics, plural of folk music. Folk name, a name used in common parlance as opposed to an official name. Folk names, plural of folk name. Folk punk, a genre of usually acoustic punk rock influenced by folk music. Folk religion, ethnic or regional religious customs under the umbrella of an organized religion, but outside of official doctrine and practices. Folk religioness, one who follows a folk religion. Folk religioness, plural of folk religioness. Folk religions, plural of folk religion. Folk rock, a subgenre of rock music combining elements of folk music. Folk saint, a deceased person or otherwise spiritually powerful entity venerated as a saint, but not officially canonized. Folk saints, plural of folk saint. Folk singer, alternative spelling of folk singer, someone who sings folk music. Folk singers, plural of folk singer. Folk song. A song in any folk style, originating among ordinary people, usually non-professional musicians, and handed down by oral tradition. Folk songs. Plural of folk song. Folk story. Synonym of folk tale. Folk tale. Alternative spelling of folktale. Folk tales. Plural of folk tale. Folk taxonomies. Plural of folk taxonomy. Folk taxonomy. The vernacular naming or classification of things on the basis of cultural tradition, rather than on scientific principles. Folkway. Alternative form of folkway. Folkways. Plural of folkway. Foxglove. Eggcorn of foxglove. Folk blues. A genre of blues influenced by early 20th century folk music. Folk etymological. Pertaining to folk etymology. Folk etymologically. In a way or manner of folk etymology. Folk etymologize. To introduce or develop a folk etymology. Folk etymologize. Simple past and past participle of folk etymologize. Folk etymologizes. Third person singular simple present indicative of folk etymologize. Folk etymologizing. Present participle and gerund of folk etymologize. Folk hero. Alternative form of folk hero. Folk heroes. Plural of folk hero. Folk-like. Alternative spelling of folk-like. Folklore. Alternative form of folklore. Folklores. Plural of folklore. Folk medicine. Alternative form of folk medicine. Folk medicines. Plural of folk medicine. Folk metal. A genre of heavy metal influenced by folk music and various traditional musical forms. Folk punk. Alternative spelling of folk punk. Folk rock. Alternative form of folk rock. Folk rocker. Someone passionate about folk rock music. Folk rockers. Plural of folk rocker. Folk rockish. Similar to or reminiscent of folk rock. Folkway. Alternative form of folkway. Folkways. Plural of folkway. Folkheadle. Having elements of folk music and psychedelic music. Folkboat. A small, affordable sailboat rigged as a sloop. Folkboats. Plural of folkboat. Folkcraft. Folk craftsmanship. Folkgats. Plural of folkcraft. Folkdance. Alternative spelling of folk dance. Folkenses. Plural of folkdance. Folkdom. Character of a people. Folklore, that which defines a people's original nature and culture or an individual's tie to it. Fober. A surname. Fobers. A surname from German. Folkerses. Plural of Folkers. Folperts. A surname. Folkert. Dies. Plural of Folkerts. Folkestone. A coastal town and civil parish with a town council in Folkestone and High District. Kent, England. A West Grid Ref TR 2235. Folkestone and High. A local government district of Kent, England, renamed from Shepway in April 2018 with its headquarters in Folkestone. Folkething. Dated form of Folkeding. Folkeding. The Danish Parliament. Folkfree. Having folk rights as a free citizen. Folk game. A traditional game associated with the children of a community. Folk games. Plural of folk game. Folk house. Alternative form of folk house. folk houses, plural of folk house. Folky, a folk singer or an enthusiast of folk music. Folkier, comparative form of folky, more folky. Folkies, plural of folky. Folkies, superlative form of folky, most folky. Folkiness, the quality of being folky. Folkingham, a village and civil parish in South Kesteven District, Lincolnshire, England. OS Grid Ref TF 0733. Folkish, popular, referring to the culture of ordinary people. Folkishly, in a folkish manner. Folkishness, the quality of being folkish. Folkism, an ideology that emphasizes racial or ethnic identity, especially when combined with nationalism. Folkisms, plural of folkism. Folkland, land held in villenage, being distributed among the folk or people at the pleasure of the lord of the manor and taken back at his discretion. Folklands, plural of folkland. Folklife, folklore, those cultural traditions passed down orally or informally. Vopai, resembling the style of folk music. Folk blues, plural of folklife. Folklore, the tales, legends, superstitions, and traditions of a particular ethnic population. Folklores, plural of folklore. Folklore, of pertaining to or having the character of folklore. Folklorical, synonym of folkloric. Folklorically, in a folkloric way. Folkloricness, the quality of being folkloric. Folklorish, being similar to or having the quality of folklore. Folklorism, invention or adaptation of folklore, including any use of a tradition outside the cultural context in which it was created. Folklorismus, synonym of folklorism. Folklorist, a person who studies or collects folklore. Folkloristic, about the traditions and stories of a country or community, characteristic of folklore. Folkloristically, in a folkloristic manner. Folkloristics, the formal academic study of folklore. Folklorists, plural of folklorists. Folkby, of or belonging to the folk. Folkmen, a surname. Folkmens, plural of folkmen. Folkmoot, a general meeting assembly of the people of a town, district, or shire. Folkmoots, plural of folkmoot. Folknot, alternative form of folkmoot. Folknote, alternative form of folkmoot. Folknotes, plural of folkmote. Folkmots, plural of folkmot. Folk name, alternative spelling of folk name. Folk names, plural of folk name. Folknik, a folk music enthusiast. Folkniks, plural of folknik. Folprat, hill. Folprat, alternative form of folkrit. Folkright, the common law or right of the people. Folkrights, plural of folkright. Folks, a surname. Folksy, comparative form of folksy, more folksy. Folksiest, superlative form of folksy, most folksy. Folksy, in a folksy manner. Folksiness, the quality of being folksy. Folksayer, a person who sings folk songs. Folk singers, plural of folk singer. Folk singing, the singing of folk songs. Folk song, alternative spelling of folk song. Folk songs, plural of folk song. Folksonomic, of or pertaining to folksonomy. Folksonomies, plural of folksonomy. Folksonomy, the spontaneous cooperation of a group of people to organize information into categories. The practice and method of collaboratively creating and managing tags to annotate and categorize content. Volkssprache, a zonal constructed language based on Germanic languages. Volkssprache, alternative spelling of Volkssprache. Volkssprache, alternative spelling of Volkssprache. Folkster, a folk musician. Folksters, plural of folkster. Folkston, a city, the county seat of Charlton County, Georgia, United States. Folk style, being a style of amateur wrestling practiced at collegiate and university level in the United States. The ultimate goal is to pin the opponent to the mat, and the legs can be used in offense and defense. Folksy, characteristic of simple country life. Folktale, a tale or story that is part of the oral tradition of a people or a place. Folktales, plural of folktale. Folkton, a village and civil parish in Scarborough District, North Yorkshire, England. OS Ref TA 0579. Folktronica, a musical genre combining elements of folk music and electronica. Folkvang, alternative form of folkanger. Folkanger, a meadow or field ruled over by the goddess Freyja, the